I'm calling the meeting to order. Pardon? Oh, yeah, really no better. I'm calling the meeting to order on February the 13th at 6 o'clock. I just want to make a short announcement before we have roll call. Our video system isn't working as well as it should be, our Zoom link. And so I just want to tell people that are on Zoom, if we have them, that we are working on trying to correct some of the sound problems in here. A lot of people spent a bit of time today trying to get these working. So we understand that the volume is fairly weak and a lot of the microphones are low. So I'm telling everybody here, when you speak, you've got to speak right into the microphone. That's the microphone that people will make comments with. And those of you that are at home listening, turn your volume up as high as you can so that you can hear. Also, when it comes to public comments, we're limiting all the comments to 3 minutes, and we will warn you at 2 minutes and 30 seconds that you're coming close to the 3-minute limit. All right, so with that, we'll start with the flag salute, and Kitty Snyder will lead the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate and electronic notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in the Beach Haven Municipal Building and on the borough website, mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and the Press of Atlantic City. Mr. Batista. Here. Mrs. Miller. Here. Ms. Lambert.
Here.
Ms. Snyder. Here. Mayor Davis.
Here.
Cash receipts in the current fund account for the period of January 1 to January 31st, 2023 were $2,856,110.55. Cash disbursements in the current fund account for the month of January 2023 totaled $655,182.13. The cash balance in the current fund account as of this period totaled $18,683,118.07. Cash receipts in the water utility account for the period of January 1 to January 31st were $295,908.74. Cash disbursements in the water utility account for the month of January 2023 totaled $33,811.88. And the cash balance in the water utility account as of January 31st was $4,916,435.27, submitted by our treasurer, Sherry Bowler. I have minutes for approval this evening without formal reading for the January 9th, 2023 regular meeting.
Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that would like to approve them? Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Ordinance 2023-1C, an ordinance amending Chapter 174, Article 1, Special Events in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to establish decreased special event fees for mercantile holders. Final reading.
It's final reading, so therefore we can have comments from the public. If anybody would like to get up and speak to this particular ordinance, this is the time to do it. Anybody on Zoom? No?
Michael Mixa, did you want to speak to this ordinance?
No.
Okay, keep your microphone on mute until you're called on. Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom wish to be heard on ordinance 1C?
Okay, all right. So therefore, if nobody wants to speak, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2023-1C?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Batista,
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-2C, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 212 zoning, sections 212-21, permitted modifications of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to clarify the applicability of additional square footage for entry and stairs for raised structures. Final reading.
Again, this is final reading. If somebody wants to address this issue, please come forward. If you don't understand it, I can explain it to you. Anybody need an explanation? Is there anybody wants to speak to this? Anybody on Zoom?
Anyone on Zoom wish to be heard for ordinance 2C? You can raise an electronic hand, or you can unmute yourself and state your name and address. Seeing none?
All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Okay.
Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-3C, an ordinance amending chapter 204, water, section 27, tapping fees and other miscellaneous charges of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to increase fees for installation of water meter pits and laterals. Final reading.
Again, it's final reading. If anybody would like to speak to this, please come forward. I see nobody in the room. Is there anybody on Zoom?
Anyone on Zoom wish to be heard for ordinance 3C?
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll approve, motion to approve 2023-3C.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-4C, an ordinance amending chapter 74, sections 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, construction codes uniform in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to increase fees for building permits in collaboration with participating construction interlocal municipalities.
This is a first reading, so there's no public comment. Is there anybody on the council that would like to either ask a question or speak to this?
No.
Nope. Okay, so is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-05, ordinance of the Borough of Beach Haven, adopting the redevelopment plan for block 166.02, lot 3, and block 170, lot 2, within the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to adopt a redevelopment plan for Queen City East, formerly known as Brennan's Fuels, and Queen City West, formerly known as Foster's Farm Market, with developer Michael Pagnotta. First reading.
Again, it's first reading, so the public cannot speak to this at this time, but council can ask questions. We did have Mr. Pagnotta here at the last meeting who presented his plans. Does anybody want to speak to this?
I would just like to elaborate because there's a lot more people here tonight that were not at the last meeting. And, you know, when we originally heard this back in November, the council at the time said no because he was over in density, he was lacking parking and impervious coverage. And he came back to us in December with this redrawn plan. And, you know, at the time, a lot of people were concerned, oh, you know, that was a unicorn. That's the best you could do. This is a, but thankfully he did come back to us and he changed it and he made it much more favorable for the town in terms of overdevelopment and building too much. So I did want to publicly thank him again. And hopefully going forward as a council, we can encourage developers and builders to hold the line because it can be done and they can make a profit without overbuilding in our town. So I do want to thank him and just make everybody aware because it's a lot smaller crowd last time. Thank you.
I'd like to add, that this does not mean the project is a done deal. I spoke to Emily Gibbons, our our attorney, and I asked her, and she agreed, and we were gonna be insisting that before the agreement goes to the land use board, that the Borough Council can negotiate all architectural details combined with the architectural committee, such as siding, roof pitch, rail systems, color, all of that, lighting, basically what's in it for us and what's in it for him as well. I personally don't like that both of these projects mimic each other. I'd like to see one look different than the other. And hopefully he can let us know what types of businesses he's trying to attract. Businesses that would make Beach Haven great, like farmers market. So we are only voting to introduce this tonight. So we have a long way to go.
Anybody else on council like to speak to this ordinance?
The one issue I have with this is the loss of Foster's Farm. I don't see that as a stressed property, a redevelopment issue. Unfortunately, we're stuck with this at the moment. But I think Foster's Farm Market is important for our town. I think it's a valuable asset. This process moves forward as much as I can to keep some kind of farm market.
Anybody else? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-06, bond ordinance authorizing various improvements to pickleball courts by and for the Borough of Beach Haven in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $250,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $238,000 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. The purpose is to appropriate funds for pickleball improvements. First reading.
I'd like to make a statement and then the rest of the council can also weigh in on this. I just want to say that as with the skateboard park, if we approve this ordinance, all we're doing is setting aside money if we decide to go forward with this. This isn't a done deal. And as with the skateboard park, which I totally support, I am going to vote in favor of this. I truly believe that we need activities, outdoor activities for all ages of people. And I really think it's a wonderful idea to have a skateboard park in our town for our young people, but I do think we need some more pickleball courts. And but as I say, we're just voting to allocate this money in reserve. Many times when we do this, things don't necessarily go through, but this gives us more time to discuss various options, and that's my stance on it. If anybody else on council would like to speak to this, please do.
Well, this is my project, so to me, it's very obvious we need more pickleball. We need outside activities, recreational activities for our residents. And for
Can Mr. Bat-
Better.
Okay.
Speak louder.
The value of Beach Haven has to keep up with the changes that are taking place. The recreation part of our town is vital, just as the tennis courts were years ago. Things are changing now, and pickleball is the sport of choice. It's a great social sport for men, women, boys and girls, kids playing with their parents, kids playing with their friends. It's part of gym class in many schools, and we're underutilized on pickleball. We are charging people to play, and we can't give them a surface to play on. Our revenues from pickleball are almost double the revenues from tennis in just 2 years. And it's growing everywhere. So the big argument is I don't want it in my backyard, but that's where it is now. And for it to be effective, we have to keep the course together. We can't spread it around town. So we've done a lot of work here in the last 30 days, looking at alternative places. Taylor Avenue, Walsh Field, the school playground. Right now, Nelson is the most practical and the most economical place to put it. And I think it actually belongs there. I think everybody will be very happy down the road. I understand everybody's a little upset about it. Not everybody was a team of That's my position.
Anybody else on council would like to speak?
Yes, I would. I know Mike and I had this discussion earlier, and I have to disagree. And I have to, like, right off the bat, you said it was almost double, but I think pickleball brought in 18,000 this year. Tennis brought in 13,000. So it wasn't double. And another reason for that might be the fact that there are currently, let's see, 38 tennis courts for use on the island and 24 pickleball. So tennis is more spread out. The tennis courts are being used. So right there, I just kind of want to put that little notion to bed. Tennis is still as popular as it ever was. I know pickleball is very popular, there's no doubt. But robbing Peter to pay Paul, I do have a problem with that, especially when we work so hard to get the tennis courts. A couple other things that my concern is that when we first said 6 courts, we were hoping, because all the other towns in the island were looking for Beach Haven to carry the load. And when we didn't, what happened? The township, just this past August, opened 4 new courts. Surf City will be opening 4 new courts. The Yacht Club is building 6 permanent courts. So I would say, at the very least, this is a little premature because we don't know how it's going to affect all these new courts being built. Now, Mike and I did agree. I know last time it was said, oh, this tournament's going to bring in all kinds of money and da, 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 da. Well, it's the first week of August. And I think we all know that there's barely a hotel room or a restaurant reservation to be had. So I don't find that exactly, an argument. And the fact that it raises millions and all that. If that was the case, I think every town would have one to get that kind of return on their investment. So that aside, I just think also right now, and again, we had this discussion about where this town is right now financially. And we have a lot going on. We have a lot of projects. We have a library we're trying to get open, and right now that cost is skyrocketing. It's we know it's probably going to be at least 250 to 300. No, it's actually going to be closer to 300,000, maybe over. We have the traffic lights we want to do, and I get that. That's for the safety of everybody. But between the ones that we already approved and the new ones, that's going to be another $500,000. The water and sewer line project, which is going to be going on for a long time, all that needs to be replaced. We have a lead pipe replacement coming up. We have 10 years to do that. But again, a lot of that's going to fall on the borough. And of course, there's the EOC that we just approved to the tune of $3 million. Later on, you're going to hear about the old police station, that the roof has been leaking forever and a day, and they really would like to do something about that. And it just seems there's so much going on. And to me, the pickleball courts are a want, not a need. And we have 6 beautiful courts. And from what I was told this summer, the wait wasn't bad at all. And even at that, because the township didn't open theirs until mid-August, we don't even know the effect that's going to have on the season passes in Beach Haven. I just think this is premature. I understand you want to pass the money. I know the neighbors are upset. I've heard from them. We've all heard from them. We've also all heard from the neighbors at Walsh. And it's kind of funny because it's like, well, the neighbors at Nelson are telling you about the noise and the traffic and the problems. But does that make it any less valid for the neighbors at Walsh? No, they would be dealing with the same thing in an area where they're already dealing with an awful lot. So my thought on this is it should be waiting. I think there's just too much going on in this town right now. And like I said, this is a want, not a need.
Anybody else like to speak?
Well, I guess I don't want to speak, but I will speak. This is a difficult decision, seeing you all, friends, kids, and looking like, from what I'm seeing, that everyone out here thinks that this is a choice against kids. That's well, if you know me, you know that that's impossible for me. Whatever. I have 5 kids of my own. For God's sake, I have 8 grandkids. All my kids were raised here. I love Beach Haven. I love the school. I love the kids at the school. It's just, pickleball. You talk about it, it brings out. It's just mind-blowing. It is the most popular sport. It's growing leaps and bounds. I do think that there is a need for more pickleball courts moving into the future. I'd like to make decisions that benefit the majority. I'm not sold on the location, and I do think that we could look at alternate locations or a way. I don't want to rush into it, contrary to popular belief out there. But I do think that I don't have a problem with having more pickleball courts. I think the master plan, this in our vision statement, it states that the residents of Beach Haven strive to provide a unique and vibrant coastal community, vacation destination, as well as recreational offerings that support all of its citizens and visitors. Our demographic is in the, let's just say, average of 55, and you play tennis, and then all of a sudden your shoulder, your knee goes out, and you're going to tell people to sit down. I think pickleball is a great source of exercise and recreation for all ages. So I'm not against pickleball, and I'm sorry that I'm not against it, but I'm not. But I am not in favor of rushing into this so that, and I promise that we will weigh it, and I'm not sure I'll vote for it in the long run, but tonight, just to appropriate the money to look into it, I'm going to vote yes. That doesn't mean I'm going to vote yes in the long run, but tonight I'm going to vote yes.
Anybody else like to speak?
Yes, I'd like to speak. It was a beautiful day in Beach Haven today. Beautiful day in Beach Haven today. I think it was 55, 60 degrees. Was anybody playing pickleball in here? It's multi-generational. I see 4-year-olds up to over 60-year-olds. Was anybody playing today? Everybody lives here, right? Okay. Nobody was playing pickleball today. Surprising. Okay. So let me give you a little background. It's 60 degrees. I was out playing soccer. Anyway, 2 years ago, I feel like this is like deja vu for me. 2 years ago, the same discussion happened. And initially it was for 9 new pickleball courts at Nelson. We talked with the neighbors, we talked with the pickleball community, and we built 6 brand new pickleball courts at a cost of $178,000. They have a beautiful area. It was a compromise between the neighbors, and it was a compromise between the pickleball players. After that, former councilman Dan Allen and I said that the next recreational project was 100% going to be for the kids that live here on the island, 100%. So last year, former councilman Dan Allen and Chris Rutherford, excuse me, came together and designed a committee looking at skate parks. We had various town meetings. They came up with 2 plans. They talked about a location. We were moving along with it. We have money set aside for that, and it was moving forward. Now here we are. And when we're saying we're allocating the money, we are borrowing the money. This is not something that we.
That's not what you said, but it was allocated for the skate park budget.
No, we're
Just for
borrowing.
the record.
No, we're borrowing that too. And the big thing with the skate park too is, we have to get donations, 100%. We can't just build a skate park for the kids. We can't put that on the backs of taxpayers. And the skate park community was like, awesome. We will do as much as we can to find the money and to get the donations. And now here we are with just paying for 6 brand new pickleball courts, which to me is cutting the line. It just doesn't make any sense. If this discussion could be put after the skate park final decision, which is at the next meeting, where we want to solidify a contract with Pillar Enterprises. We have a design, we have a location, we were gonna have another town meeting and talk to the community, talk to everyone, and I wanted this after, and I was told no. What's the rush? I have no idea. This is a capital project. A capital project discussions, we don't start talking about that till like August and September. We went through, as with the skate park design, the proper way. We met with the DEP. We took a whole year of design and discussion. Now it's like, okay, forget all of that, and now let's build 6 more pickleball courts for a total of 12 new pickleball courts, surrounded by, on all 4 sides, residential neighbors. Come on. It's just, to me, absolutely 100% not.
Anybody else on council want to speak? Otherwise, we'll have roll call.
I have Sherry Rowe here, I'd like her to come to the table and just advise the council on the capital process and where we are with debt before we make a decision that we're going to appropriate money. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Close, okay?
Okay. There are a lot of valid points I on each side here. However, the normal process for capital projects, we do meet in the fall generally, and we meet with the department heads prior to, and we put a list together. Everybody puts their wish list together, their wants, their needs, and everything goes into one big list, kind of the kitchen sink, and we evaluate each project one by one and put them in a priority list, and we decide, knowing that the total that we're starting with, usually lately the total that we always start with is beyond our recommended budget and where we like to stay within. So there's always projects that do get cut off the list and postponed. We currently have 7 million in bond anticipation notes. We roll over the notes once a year. We do temporary financing is what they're considered. That's been working well for us over the years. They are rolled over once a year to be paid off and matured in 10-year time. So everything that we are borrowing is paid off in a 10-year span. We actually also over the years have gotten very aggressive in our pay down. We put in our budget, we appropriate 1.2 million every year to pay down our notes. We're only required to pay down about 1/10 to stay on track. And even with our aggressive pay down, 1/10 would be 700,000. We're paying down 1.2 million. Even with that aggressive track, our notes are still slightly rising every year. As we're borrowing more each year than we're paying down. So we do have this discussion in the fall. It is not always the standard way that we do things. However, we have done ordinances outside of the normal. The trolley ordinance a few years back was done in, I believe, January of 2020. We have appropriated things that have come up. A trash truck, vehicles, we have done those. We funded some ordinances out of our capital improvement fund, and we haven't borrowed the money. But that's the discussion we really have every year. You as council decide what you want to spend the money on. I don't say whether I agree with whatever the project is. Some of the projects I've agreed with, some of them I haven't, but it's not my opinion It is up to you guys as a group to collectively spend the amount of money that we recommend to spend every year, and then I would take it back to the table and figure out how to finance it. So again, it's the collective choice what we will spend the money on.
Sherry, question. Do you have any idea how this affects our tax rate? Like, let's say if we would go with this project and the lights both, so we're looking at another 500,000 in bonds above and beyond. I know we always try to stay within that magic number to keep taxes hopefully the same aside from other considerations. Do you have any idea what this would do?
So obviously the tax rate is driven by the amount of taxes we appropriate in our budgets. The tax rate, it's about 200 and I would say 16,000 roughly equals 1 cent on the tax rate, 1 penny. So an increase in expense of 200,000 would be about a penny. It's hard to say. We are having our budget discussion in 2 weeks at the agenda meeting. That's where we break everything down and have a very detailed discussion. You know, there are other ways to fund this. You could throw it into the budget as a capital line item, but if you funded it that way entirely, that's a $250,000 hit to the budget at one time. So I would normally recommend with a project of this nature, with a longer useful life, to spread it out and not put it into the budget. But there are multiple ways to do it. But, you know, I would take it back and figure out how to finance it.
Thank you.
Other questions for Sharon?
So, Sherry, every year you always recommend to be more on the conservative side when borrowing. The number that for the last 4 years was always around 1 million, 1.5 million to be comfortable so we could still kind of pay off aggressively so to lower our debt.
Correct.
And, you know, last year we fell into that 1.6 million, but then we had the 3 million for the emergency operations center. So last year, you know, we took a big leap here, but it was the need for that building because it was in state of disrepair.
Right.
And this was a discussion that, you know, happened in the fall, not the first week of February. So there, we could anticipate other things that we're going to have to borrow for, and we're already with the lights, you know, 375,000 into our borrowing area. So we also have a request from Public Works as well, which I think is a need that just came in last week or 2 weeks ago, and that's the police department roof replacement, the old police building that's been vacant since Sandy, and we really want to do something with that building. We have a need for housing summer officers or doing something with that vacant building, and it's going to cost about $265,000, which that is a need, and that is something that should be coming up right now versus $250,000 for pickleball. That's the difference between a need and a want and waiting your turn as a recreation activity. Recreation is very important.
Council, any other questions for Sharon?
Now, I would like to just piggyback on what Jamie said. When we were doing the tennis courts, it took us 15 years between the time we first asked to have it done, between phase 1 and phase 2. But we realized when you're going to a town for a bigger expenditure like that, it doesn't take precedence or priority. There are plenty of things. And that's why it took 15 years. And we sat and waited patiently, and we finally got it done. I mean, all of a sudden, within 2 years, it's like, we got to build these pickleball courts. And I don't understand it, but I just wanted to clarify what Jamie was saying as far as recreation, wants, and needs again.
Any other questions for Sharon?
Sherry, I spent a lot of time discussing this with you on where we could find the money to do this. I was mayor and councilman for 4 years, and my title was Revenue and Finance. I completely understand finances of this town. I spent the last month reviewing our balance sheets, our income statements. our debt restructuring. I'm not sure I agree with the way the debt is being restructured right now. My best interest is for this town. My heart is in this town. I live in this town. This is where my home is. I believe that spending money now on recreation that benefits all of our residents and makes Beach Haven a special place is what's going to provide value to our real estate. That's everyone's biggest asset in this room, the real estate right now. We want to maintain the values of our real estate, and we want them to go up. I'm not spending money recklessly, I assure you of that. This is a good thing for this town right now, and it's not being rushed. I'm not rushing anything at all. I've been spending a lot of time on that.
Please, no comments at the moment.
We had a meeting, last meeting where we brought this to discussion. We spent a month reviewing everything. Last month, we were here to listen to everyone's concerns. And now we're ready to move forward, appropriate the funds, and then we'll have more discussions.
No way.
Thank you, Sharon.
I make a motion that we adopt 2023-06. Excuse
Yes.
me. Yes, 06. May I have a second, please?
Second,
Mr. Batista.
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller.
No.
Ms. Lambert.
no.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
No.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Wow.
Ordinance 2023-07C, an ordinance supplementing chapter 212 zoning, sections 18 administration by the addition of section 18.1 zoning fees in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey. This is to increase fees for zoning. First reading.
Again, any comments from council on this?
No.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve 2023-07C.
Second, is there a second? I'll second it.
Thank you. Mr. Batista.
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-08C, an ordinance revising chapter 194-3 of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven concerning the sale of products such as Kraton and Delta 8 and related paraphernalia. The purpose is to clearly define where paraphernalia can be sold. First reading.
Again, does council want to discuss this? We've had multiple discussions. Anybody else want to address this on council? All
No.
right, not hearing none. Do we have a motion to approve OHC?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Batista.
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
All matters listed under item consent agenda are considered to be routine by the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. And any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 36, returning piling bonds. Resolution 37, approving a use agreement between Borough of Beach Haven and the Community Arts Program. 38, approving the Beach Haven First Aid Squad certified list of eligibles for the 2022 LoSAP program. 43, executing a shared service agreement with Ocean County for animal facilities. 44 is calling for an immediate and more offshore wind development, pending a thorough investigation into the unprecedented deaths of whales. 46, executing a shared service agreement with Ocean County Prosecutor's Office for the FAST program. 47, establishing the Architectural Advisory Committee for 2023. 48, authorizing the Beach Haven Land Use Board to review a proposed redevelopment plan for Block 166.2, Lot 3, and Block 170, Lot 2, within the Borough of Beach Haven. 49 is approving change order 1, final, for the 2022 bulkhead replacement project, 12th Street and Coral Street from Graco Inc. 50 is returning remaining police detail escrow. 51 is awarding a contract to Nielsen Ford for the purchase of a public works truck. 52, updating the local emergency planning committee roster and meeting dates. 54, refunding a performance bond inspection fee. 55 is refunding performance bonds. 56 is returning remaining escrow. 58 is authorizing to advertise for bids for ice cream vendors. And finally, 60 is authorizing to advertise for bids for parts for the water department.
Would anybody like to remove any of these for further discussion?
I'd like to remove 44, 2023.
Thank you. Okay, so we should,
Any others?
anybody else?
No.
No? Okay,
So you want to move on the full group first?
yes.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 44.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
So now resolution 44, 2023, calling for an immediate moratorium on offshore wind development pending a thorough investigation into unprecedented deaths in whales.
I would like to, I would like to recuse myself from this particular motion, as I am also connected at Stockton University, and I know Stockton University, some of the professors are actually doing research in this area. Yep. Some of the professors are doing research in this area, and basically a couple people have received very small grants from both Orsted and Atlantic Shore. So I'm recusing myself from this.
Anyone else want to speak to this before we vote?
I don't understand why this is coming before council. I just don't understand it, and I don't want to use this position to forward something that has not been supported by any documentation, or I haven't seen anything on it. I just, it's a blanket irritated arrow that was shooting up into the air. I'm not in favor of wind development where I can see it off the beach. But we don't have any control of it. I think what we should be doing is trying to find a way to get it further offshore. But I don't think by using our position here, we should be voting.
Okay, I mean, I was one of the people that asked to have it put on, so I would like to elucidate. Congressman Bandrew and Congressman Smith both asked that the shore communities do something like this to show our support. There's an alarming situation going on out there. And while the federal government has said, well, there's no direct proof that this has anything to do with the exploration and the mapping and all that, there's absolutely no proof that there isn't. And that's the problem. And if any of our local legislators, Chris Connors, Diane Grove, any of our local people, I know the mayors were asked to sign a letter. They're trying to get support because right now they don't know. Bottom line, nobody knows. And another whale just, by the way, washed up today. So I think we're up to, counting the ones the 3 babies they found offshore, I think we're up to 9 in Jersey waters, and there have been a couple in New York in their waters. This is an alarming situation, and until they get a handle on it, what's the problem? I mean,
what is the activities that you want them to stop doing now?
Sounding with the sonar when they're trying to find the bottom and map the bottom. Right now, what they're saying is, well, they haven't found any permanent damage to the whales. But what the scientific community has said is that you probably won't find permanent damage because it's not causing permanent damage at the decibel level that they are working at. What it is causing is disturbance and disorientation in the animals, is what they're very much afraid of. And like I said, nobody knows on either side. And, the feds are like, oh, that can't be it. But they have offered no proof to say what it could be. I think it's just prudent to err on the side of caution. And I think since everybody around us feels that this is a good way to go, truthfully, I do also, and that's why it was brought up. Thank you.
So it's the sounding, so.
That's one of the things, right? There's just so much going on out there. And right now, that's the biggie, that they think the decibels may be causing this disorientation because there really is no explanation for this unprecedented number. Now, a couple of them were hit by ships and they were able to document that. But again, some of the scientists are concerned that because their sonar is being messed up, they don't even realize they're swimming in the path of a ship. We don't know. And I think it's just prudent to err on the side of caution. And I think this is a good first step. Let's slow this whole thing down because right now, they just came up with some other forms of energy, not going to be ready for a while, but could be an answer. And here we are pushing, and there's so many unknowns. Just, I think it's the right way to go. This this came from Save LBI, Dr. Bob Stern. And also Clean Ocean is part of that as well.
I wish I would have had a little more background.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion, council? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 44?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Mr. Batista?
I'll go with council, but yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Thank you. I have a bill list this evening in the amount of $1,657,569.50.
Is there a reason why we're not getting a printed list of the bills for the public to see?
Because we are technologically savvy and we get it via email.
And would the public like to see the list of bills
It goes published with the minutes.
here with the,
It gets published with the minutes. It gets published with the minutes.
The public has access.
they just want the public to see the bill list.
Okay, a motion to approve the bill list?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
We did have one item for general discussion, but I spoke with Sherry Roller and we think that it might be prudent to move that to next month's next meeting on the 23rd, since we intend to have a preliminary budget discussion anyway, because of the attendance tonight, and we're gonna have a budget discussion at the next meeting anyway. We're gonna move that discussion to the next meeting, if that's okay.
That's fine with me.
That's all I have then.
All right, so now I'm opening the floor to public comment. And as I said before, keep your comments to 3 minutes and you will be warned at 2.5 minutes that you're coming close to your 3 minutes. All right. You need to go to that microphone over there because we know that one works. And state your name. Everybody that comes up, please state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Don Miller. I own Surfshack South and the Shack Board Shop in Schooners Wharf in Beach Haven. To clear the air, obviously, but I think myself and the majority of the people in this room don't inherently hold any ill will to anything pickleball or the pickleball community. I think I speak for pretty much everyone. I'm assuming even the people who are pro pickleball in the room that we're just concerned. I'm 40 years old. I've been coming to the island my whole life. I've lived here about 30 years. I've owned a business for 16 years, I believe, this summer. And in that time, I've seen 3 movie theaters closed, probably 4 or 5 miniature golf courses. Obviously not on the island, but on the mainland, we've seen 2 skate parks actually covered, or most recently repurposed for pickleball courts in West Creek. In that exact same time frame, I can't name a single example where the community, which would be roughly, we'll call it 10 to have received anything in the form of help recreational activities outside of maybe upgrading some playgrounds, maybe redoing some fields. Things have only disappeared. And in that time, we've seen dog parks, we've seen gazebos, we have seen pickleball courts. And like I started, none of those things are inherently bad. Like Councilman Batista, we are champions of more recreational spending. We want to have things to do. Instead of things are extremely sparse and seem to be constantly diminishing. At the same time, we probably have people complaining about that exact same demographic, spending too much time on their phones, not being on the island year round to actually fill the jobs that people always need to keep the businesses running in Beach Haven. But when we continue to invest in recreational activities and structures that specifically cater to an older demographic and continue to diminish the spending and the resources that are exactly that community, what do you expect? And now I understand obviously that Mayor Davis did express support for the skate park. I know in the past I've had conversations with Mayor Lambert and Council President Snyder that they're not theoretically opposed to the skate park. Thank you. $148,000 you just allocated. It was $250,000 that was allocated to the skate park. I'm not calling anyone up here's character into question. But it's reasonable that everyone in this room is at least skeptical and at minimum very concerned that we're concerned that this is going to obviously replace the skate park. So please give us in mind that we're all looking for, that what you just did has no bearing whatsoever. I am fine with pickleball. I am objecting to pickleball instead of skate park. I am not objecting to pickleball in addition to skate park. Oh, absolutely. Look, like I said, we have no problems with creating more recreational activities for all communities, but most explicitly, one community seems to be.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Okay, who wants to go next? Okay, go ahead. State your name and address.
My name is Van McKeldra, and I live on 411 Holyoke Ave, Beach Haven, New Jersey.
You can bend that down or lift it down. There you go. Good.
I am Josh Law, and I live on, I think,
What's up, sweetie?
12 or something.
Are
South
you
Bay.
brothers?
No,
Oh,
we're
okay.
best friends.
Okay. So you have different addresses?
Yeah.
Okay.
South Bay Ave, and wait, never mind. I believe that they should not take away our field because that field has been a part of my life, and I literally learned how to ride a bike there, and I spend like probably like hundreds of days playing football with my friends or doing anything I felt like playing there. And that park is just a part of my life. So if you take it away, I'm really sad. I really want you to take away that park because not only my dog, but there's so many other dogs that play there, and they can play with they really play with the humans. Just running around is just fun there. I love to play with my dog, and my dog actually met a new friend there. It was really fun to just run around, and I don't want that to be taken away. In addition, that park will not harm anyone, and nothing bad will come from from not adding more pickleball courts. It will just in what do you think will happen to the next generation if they have no field to play on? How will they be able to learn how to play or make friends? They'll just be stuck inside all day. Then what do you think will happen? More people will be overweight and no one in the next generation won't know how to look at NFL players today. Do you think they lost their park when they were little? No, they didn't. So why would you want to take it away from kids who could grow up to be just like that?
Thank you. Who's next? Okay.
Before the next person goes, I think it's crazy, because I think now that mic is like too sensitive, so stay at that one, but just give yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
Testing. Okay, I'm Sue Sharkey. I live 10 North Delaware, the corner of Dock and Delaware. Thank you very much to the council for serving. We're all glad we're not in your shoes. I certainly appreciate and admire the fiscal responsibility that you exercise, as well as balancing what's best for the town and truly for the residents of the town. I think there's a lot of residents in here, and I hope you're hearing what I'm hearing, and I hope we're all listening. So I'm a big advocate of recreation. I thought the skate park was a done deal. So I was a little surprised when I walked in to realize it was still a heated thing. So I want to assume it's a done deal, but maybe we're reevaluating Taylor Avenue, because if you look at these, like West Creek or Eagleswood closed theirs and other ones closed, you look at why did they close. So I think the prime thing, and I'm sure that's what your study showed, Jamie, was visibility is probably the most important thing for property just for the whole thing. And I hope I'm not a skater. 2 of my 3 kids would have really loved a skate park when they were growing up. But no, yeah, absolutely. So I kind of thought the Taylor Avenue place, we already patrol that with police. It's the hotbed of, action. If for some reason we're abandoning that area, other than right out the back door here underneath the water tower, you need it to be somewhere visible. So I am not in favor of giving up any open space. I understand there has to be a balance. I get that, because it's not what it was, when our parents came. It wasn't what it was, when I grew up here, we had a skate park. Actually, I had a skate park. Some of you might remember that up at where Hartman's was. Privately run, not by the town. I don't want to stir that pot. But so it's not the same. I understand we have to balance. So I don't want to give up any green or open space. I guess thinking visibility, thinking neighbors, trying to put myself in your shoes, what's the best thing for the town? And again, I kind of thought this was a done deal. So I hope we are going to start proceeding and building with this. I think of immediately behind the backboard on Walsh Field, on the most westerly side of where the tennis courts are. I think, it's got to be easy for the police to get, for everybody to access. I'm a tennis player. I also, and you might not want to hear this, and I don't know that it's the best thing, but maybe even give up court 7. You could fit a skate park on court 7. That's the furthest tennis court to the west. The other thing I want to say about pickleball, I love recreation. So I'm pro everything. I've said all along, I don't know if the ambassadors to pickleball are in the room or not. I was part of that small group that started it when we started up at the Beach Haven School. I've suggested many things in the past about how you can overcome some of the crowding issues. I still maintain Beach Haven should not be the destination for Ocean County pickleball. We should not be. am I done? I'd still like to offer my help in running a tournament and accommodating all those teams that want to play if that's what they're sold on. But just so you know, pickleball is not like tennis. It's a game to 11 and they want to change every time. So 6 courts is really servicing 48 people all the time.
Okay. Well, wait a minute, I got 2 of you. Why don't you go first and you go second, okay? Yeah.
My phone's
My name-
gonna die. Can I be heard?
39 Jeffries Avenue in Beach Haven. You might not know me, but you might know my parents. They started the Green Gables on Center Street. The reason I bring that up is because I grew up skateboarding on the sidewalk there in front of a little shop called Intervision. And I was constantly getting yelled at by adults there, rightfully so. I was a 6-year-old kid with a skateboard and I was bumping into everyone and everything. But I decided I couldn't skate on the sidewalk anymore, so I started skating in the street. And that was immediately worse because I was flinging my board at cars and getting yelled at by adults in cars. So I had a great idea and I thought, I'll go to the hockey rink on West Ave. It's empty. It's nicely paved. There's no adults, no cars, and it's like my own little private oasis. And immediately I got the cops called on me by a resident there. And that was the first time I ever dealt with a police officer, and I was terrified. And I remember going home and I asked my parents, why do we live here? Why did you make me grow up here? And I realized at that moment that the only thing I could do on the island was leave the island. And I had to find a ride off the island. So that's what I tried to do. And I see these kids here and I really don't want them to have to feel what I felt here. And I think the best people on the island and the best business owners are the people that grew up here. And I think if you invest in your youth, you'll build a community that will be able to rebuild after every storm and just strive. So please just invest in your youth.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm David Dolan. I'm not actually a resident here.
What's your name, sir?
David Dolan, Dolan, if you want to spell it. So I'm not, part of the pickleball discussion.
State your address for the record.
It's 203 Snipe Road, Lacey. And I'm actually in support of the wind farm because it's, good for all of New Jersey. And this whole whale stuff is kind of crazy. It's like saying that, it's because of like the sounding in Florida, the manatees are going away. Now it's clearly boats and stuff like that, like farming, fishing, that's clearly more of an issue to whales. And also the deterioration of like the ocean entirely because of poor pollution, which, wind farms would help. So wind farming would be a good thing, not just for like New Jersey, but your entire community. It would increase jobs. It would increase the circulation of money into your local area because more people would be coming down here and focusing on these energy resources. So there's no issue with how would a whale be affected by wind farms? Like, does it jump out of the sea and like get hit by the turbine? Like the whole crazy. So there's no
having a bus through a bunch of traffic zones close together.
help increase fish
Imagine a whale swimming
very,
through ponds.
animals to correlate around them. So better fishing for like any anglers out there. I'm sure some of you do fish outside of Picklet. So that's about all I have to say. But I do support the wind farms. They will be good, and there's no issue with like sounding.
Excuse me. Vote on Zoom.
Thank you.
Do not
No problem.
unmute
Have a good one.
yourself until you're called on.
Thank you.
Do not unmute yourself until you're called on. And
Okay, I see a hand up right there.
My name is Jed Pacalda, and I met a lot of dogs there. And I don't want to not be meeting dogs. I like dogs.
Very good. I like dogs too. Could you state your address? Yeah. Really good.
So that's Jed Bakelja. I'm Matt Bakelja's father. We live at 411 Holyoke Avenue. If I could just take a quick turn, just say a couple quick things. Since we moved here, we've seen Nelson Park kind of get smaller and smaller for the kids. Each and every one of our kids have used that space. I hear you saying we're not going to take your space away, but you are taking their space away. You're not taking the whole field, but you're taking part of the field. We've seen that. We've seen what was originally the hockey rink, right? Like our kids would play inside the hockey rink because no one was using that. And the cops let us alone. And then it turned into pickleball. And we thought, oh, okay, that's great. People are using it now for pickleball. So the kids play around the pickleball court and they use the entire field. They're running all over the place. They use this field all the time, 12 months out of the year. And it continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, I guess my biggest concern as a father, right? And Sue, you made a good point. 6 courts, 24 players at a time. Okay. Now,
48.
I'm sorry.
Game's only to 11, yeah.
Right. Game's only to 11. Now we're talking about doubling that, but let me ask you a question. What about the next 24 players that are coming into play?
Waiting on deck.
They're waiting on deck. And what about
This is a time for public comment to the council.
Okay, then I'll direct it to you. Okay, so if we have 48 players on these proposed courts at any given time, you also have 48 players that have just gotten done and are probably socializing, right? And then you have 48 players who are showing up, stretching. Where are these people parking? And in and around an area where these little kids are on bikes, there's kids getting pushed in strollers. There's parents pulling kids in wagons. There's people on this council who have raised kids, families in this town, and it blows my mind that like this is a hard decision for you, Kitty Snyder, or this is a hard decision for you, Nancy, or Mike Batista, or anybody else. Really, is it that hard of a decision? None of you talked about the kids besides your comment about, oh, you probably think I'm not for the kids. Well, yeah, totally. Like, it doesn't seem like you're for the kids one bit.
I was the one that installed the swing set.
We're not talking about the swing set. That's not the substantive issue here, Mr. Batista. That's not the substantive issue.
That was for the kids.
Okay.
So what? So is this, are we supposed to like bow to that accomplishment that you had a decade ago? Like, no way. No way.
This isn't a back and forth.
No way. Listen, these kids out here, they don't have a voice. They don't have a voice. They don't vote. And guess who voted for you guys? No one voted for you who's in this audience, first of all. Nobody here voted for you. We voted for the rest of you. And we're counting on you. These kids are counting on you. They use this field all year long, and you're going to make this decision to take it away from them. I'm not against pickleball or pickleball enthusiasts, but I am against pickleball enthusiasts and politicians to start messing with our kids who use this space. You realize like what COVID was like for these kids? Their lack of socialization due to COVID and being shut down and wearing masks and all. The kids are still coming out of that. And shame on you for even considering this.
Thank you.
Hi, Jen Tomlinson, 306 South Bay Ave, Beach Haven. So I sat in enough meetings to know that an empty meeting is a happy town. Your kids grew up here, but they had a baseball field at Taylor. It's gone now. There was a hockey rink. It's gone now. There's the little bit of impervious coverage we have left. We need to keep for these kids, for soccer, lacrosse, dogs, all the things that are going on. I also sat here in the fall meeting when we talked about the wants, the wish list that Sherry was saying every department. The council went on for minutes talking about if we could afford a police car, but yet we're taking out, $7 million in bonds infrastructure, things we need, and we're, have problems with a police car, but not pickleball and skate parks and all kinds of extras. So I just think when I sit on the school board, my first thing is always what's right for the kids. And my second thing is what's right for the taxpayer. So I'm just a little confused here with what's right in all of your eyes for the kids, the taxpayer, the environment.
Thank you. We've got somebody walking up you'll be next, okay? Please use that microphone over there. That one doesn't work.
My name is Steve Jusick. We bought our first place in 1980 in Beach Haven. We spend 6 months or a little more a year here. And I would like you to ask you to consider reviewing this expansion of the skateboard in the Nelson Avenue field. And the reason is, if you look around, which I have done, I play pickleball. I love pickleball. But if you go to the tennis courts in town, and I think very few of you would, at least my observation has been, tennis and the use of those tennis courts has declined significantly over the last 20 or 30 years. The courts were just upgraded, and I think there are 8 courts there, I'm pretty sure. They get used some. I look at Little Egg Harbor Yacht Club. They have tennis courts. They also, on those same tennis courts, have put lines for pickleball, and they use them to play pickleball as well as tennis. And we could do the same thing. I think there are 8 tennis courts at Walsh Field. They have been updated. They're very nice. I played there, tennis, and we could put pickleball lines on those courts. Now, I play pickleball maybe once or twice a week when I'm here, and I like it very much. So I'm not against pickleball at all, but I don't, as the gentleman just said, the last 3 years, the number of young people, they're playing on the field at Walsh there. They're playing all kinds of things. They're playing soccer. Their young kids are running around playing different games. I've never seen in all the years the increase in the usage of that open space as I have in the last 3 years. I think it would be a shame to intrude on that and diminish that space. I want to say that
You have another 30 seconds.
I would draw lines on the 8 tennis courts in town. Most people, 30% or more that play pickleball don't live in Beach Haven. They come from outside the town. I think we can go and as I said, the number of people using the space for something other than pickleball has expanded dramatically, as I've said. And I think that if you look at, we could repurpose those 8 tennis courts and tennis could, and oh, the other thing, most people that play pickleball, they come at 8 and by 12 o'clock, they're gone and they don't stay in Beach Haven. And
You need to stop now because.
okay,
What's your address, Mr.
I've
Jusick?
said all the major points,
Thank
but
you.
I think you could consider repurposing these fine courts that we have and take care of this without intruding on the open space.
Thank you.
Mr. Jusick, what was your address?
Okay, who's next?
Mr. Juzick, what was your address, sir?
408 Leeward Avenue.
Thank you.
And there are 7 tennis courts, and just so you know, they've been used very actively. Yes.
Yes.
I'm Brian Boker. I live in Beach Haven Inlet. I pay taxes at 401 Center Street. I'd like to yield my 3 minutes to Sue Sharkey.
So we don't do that.
Mhm.
It doesn't work that way. That's not permitted.
Did you want to speak? Whoever is next, go ahead.
Okay.
My name is Tyler Carlson. I live on 2 East 27th Street. And we all agree that we'd like to see a brighter future for the youth here, right? Like, so one thing that was said earlier, we want to look for all the residents and a unique lifestyle. What's the difference between our pickleball courts and some other towns? It's the same shape, same size, all that. Imagine a skate park right next to the bay, that sunset coming down. That's pretty unique if you ask me. Now, another thing, thinking about the kids, how many kids are driving? They're not. So from the Borough Hall, Nelson Ave Park, 1.2 miles, and this during the winter with no traffic lights, 1.2 miles away. Easy bike ride, 3-minute drive. But once again, they're not driving. Then the next close one, 133rd Street, 2 miles away from here, 5-minute drive, not driving. 68th Street, 4.4 miles, 8-minute drive. Then you go up to Surf City, 7.7 miles, 14 minutes. Ship Bottom, 7.4 miles, 13 minutes. Love Ladies, 13 miles, 22 minutes. Barnegat Light, 15 miles, 25 minutes. And that's just on the island. The closest skate park is Barnegat Light at 15 miles, 25 minutes. And mind you, again, that's in the winter with no traffic lights. So now the next closest park is Barnegat Township. From there, you got Ware Town at 20 miles, 31-minute drive. No lights getting off the island. Then the next closest park with a bowl, which I know a lot of people here would like to see in the Beach Haven one, is 36 miles away, 42-minute drive with lights on the island from Borough Hall. So that's a pretty big leg. And then on top of it, talking about unique and stuff like that, I was just up in Montclair the other day where they turned not a pickleball court, but a tennis court into now skatable sculpted features that if you look around on any skate page, I'm sure you'll see within the last week, someone posting a pretty cool, unique picture. Like I said, they turn now your pickleball courts into a skate feature. So the skating side, in my personal opinion, is going to cover more for the youth. As you see my shirt, we're covering adult skateboarder. It covers us too. So now you got the kids that can't drive, the guys like me that can, but would rather not and stay local. And to top it all off, if you keep the park here, now they can go to the Shack, they can buy their board, they go to Farriers, they can go to Wave Hog. We have a couple local businesses that we support. The pickleball people that are coming from who knows where stopped at Dick's on their way in. They went to Costco, Walmart, Amazon. So how's that benefiting us here now? And yeah, that's all I got.
My name is Steve Melchiori. I live on 1915 Virginia Avenue, half a mile away from the Nelson Ave. I'm going to give my first couple minutes to my daughter, and then I'll speak after that.
Thank you.
So if you take this big open field away that we have, it's the only place that we have to run around. The younger kids play on the playground, and the older kids can play like soccer. And if we take away the open space, it's one of the biggest courts that we have. And so I don't want you to take it away because it's really special and there's not a lot of grass around, and that's like one of the biggest fields we have.
Not sure if anybody's mentioned it yet, but one of the topics I have for the council is like, what about impervious coverage? That everybody's like rammed down
any builder or a homeowner that wants to make improvements, it's always been a significant question. Obviously, if you're gonna the size of doubling the size of the existing court and taking over half of an open space field, which please correct me if I don't like to misremember or misspeak. So wasn't that field just didn't we just pay to like irrigate that field previously?
Yes.
So how can you preach fiscal responsibility when you just paid to make improvements to a field that then you want to cover with impervious coverage? The other important question I have, and Ms. Davis, I appreciate you recusing yourself from the well situation. It appears as though we've got Kitty Snyder and Ms. Snyder and Mr. Batista that play pickleball, correct? You don't play pickleball? Okay. It would just seem odd that you would devote that amount of time researching for the last month of something you've never done before. But again, I don't like to misremember or misspeak. The gentleman previous to me, the skating gentleman, brought up one of my points about, kids can't go and drive to a place to play. And it's important. We hear nothing but complaints from adults about how this younger generation doesn't ever get out. And then the minute that they do get out, we put paradise and put in a pickleball court.
My name is Jackson Chapel, and please don't take the field away. I play there with my friends, and we play like tag, and sometimes I play kickball. I love to play hide and seek, so if we had the pickleball court, then there would be less room to play on the field. And there's not that much grass on the island areas, so that's why I think we should keep the pickleball courts.
Could you say your address?
319 4th Street.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks very much.
I think we have enough pickleball courts. And we should keep the field that way. Pickleball courts.
Julie Chaput. I'm actually going to be a little taller. I'm Julie Chaput, and I live at 319 4th Street, and I'm Jackson's mom. I have never been to a town council meeting. In fact, we just moved here full time from New York City about 2.5 years ago, and now we're staying. My husband is commuting 2+ hours each way to New York City so we can live in this community. And this community has become really important to us. And we have spent hours at that park and made a lot of friends. I've made friends, my children have made friends. The kids play hide and seek. They have Nerf wars. They do so much fun stuff on that field. And I could not believe that you guys are thinking of putting more pickleball courts and taking land from children. I was so baffled. I have never been to a council meeting, but I had to sit here and I had to bring my kids who also had other activities tonight because we just need to stick up for this community. And these kids are talking and the bigger kids are talking too. And I just think that this is so important. And adding the skate park, that is a no-brainer. These kids need stuff to do in the winter, all over the year. I cannot for the life of me understand how this is even a debate about taking space, green space on this island where there's absolutely none and creating more pickleball. So anyway, that's my. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I would like to talk, if I can.
Okay, the folks on Zoom, we do the room first, so once we get through the room, I will call on you. If you raise your electronic hand, okay, thank you.
Go ahead, name and address.
Hello, everyone. Lee DiVincenzo, 311 Maryville Avenue. I am directly across the street from this pickleball court. I am almost 30 feet from this pickleball court. The noise is outstanding. The people that rent from me don't want to rent anymore. They want a discount. My wife has to put a clause in it. We're in front of this pickleball court. I need help. This is enough. We can't deal with this. If you don't believe me, come to my house. Go to the front deck. That's all you need is 15 minutes and you'll go insane. You can't relax on the deck. I bought this house 2020. We couldn't wait to buy this house. It took us 20 years to buy this house. My kids were so excited. My kids were playing soccer on the field. My other kid was throwing the ball to the dog. Where are they going to go? Where am I going to throw the ball? In the street for the dog? Where the kids are going to play? I almost seen a couple accidents. A couple of kids almost got hurt. I had somebody cut through my house and they collapsed. Where you going, ma'am? I'm going to the pickleball court. My daughter had to run for the bottle of water. They asked me to use the bathroom. There's not enough room. There's one toilet in the corner there. There's no room for the amount of people that come to this place. There's no place to park. I got to park in 2 blocks down in case there's an emergency in the house. I got to fix something. I mean, come on, leave the park for the kids. The kids say it all. Just leave the park alone. Leave the grass alone. How can you decide for this pickleball court? You got 6. 6 is enough. What do you, Nelson Pickleball Court? Is that what you're going to call it? Where are the parks in this area? My daughter goes to a beautiful tennis place, spread out. You could sit down. You could buy tennis rackets, balls, whatever you want. It's beautiful facility. Why can't we find a place just over the bridge? 20 pickleball courts, whatever they want. Why have it here? Look how small the park is. It's not enough for these kids to play. My kids don't want to come over here. My wife wants to sell the house. Do you want that? Do you want me to sell my house after I waited 20 years to buy it? I want to retire here. But if you put another 6 pickleball courts, I'm leaving. I'll never step foot in LBI again. And it hurts me to say that because I love this area.
Thank you.
Matt Gindel, 2207 West Avenue.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, Matt Gindel, 2207 West Avenue. I live 4 houses away from the park. Contrary to Councilwoman Ballmore, there was 1 game of pickleball today. Walked out my back door, I could hear the pickleball. I could hear what they were saying over there. 1 game. Imagine 12 games going on. Talking 12 games, 48 people waiting. That's 100 people. 100 people in that site with all those courts. How many parking spots are there over there? Does anybody on council know how many parking spots are there on Maryvale and Nelson Avenue? It's not 100, it's not 50. And you're going to put 100 people in that park. You're going to take it away from the kids. Councilman Batista said that our greatest asset is our real estate. Look around this room. It's our families. That's why everybody's here is for their children. You're going to take that park and cut it in half for 6 more pickleball courts we don't need. And you said we're expanding recreation. You're not expanding recreation. You're taking recreation from them and shifting it to another category. That's not an expansion. That's taking it from the kids and giving it to someone else. So don't dress it up. It's lipstick on a pig. You're saying all these platitudes that make it sound great. It's not. I saw the stakeout over there. There's not enough room to do anything. It's barely the width of the soccer ball or the soccer nets that are there now. How are kids going to play? How are they going to play kickball, soccer, you name it? It's about probably a 40, 50 yard wide, not even, probably a 40, 20, 30 yard wide stretch of land there that you're going to leave them with. To do nothing on, to expand a recreation that already exists, not create it, expand it. It doesn't need to be expanded and it can be separated. There's no reason why you need to put 12 courts there. You said it can't be separated. Why not? Why can't it be separated? Councilman Batista, why can't the courts be separated?
If we're gonna have a pickleball center.
That's exactly it. You want a pickleball center in a residential neighborhood. Have you been down there in the summer lately? Do you know how many kids are up and down West Avenue? How many kids are playing in that park, riding their bikes down West Ave? As Mr. McKell just said, pushing strollers, pulling wagons, you name it. You're gonna have 100 people down there circling the block looking for parking spots. How long is it before someone gets hurt? How long is it before a kid runs out in front of a car? Has anybody thought about that? Your commentary in this dismissed everybody in that neighborhood and said, great place, no problem, done deal. What about us? What about the people that live in that neighborhood? What about the kids that live in that neighborhood? No one's discussed that. No one's brought it up. No one's analyzed the parking. Right now, tonight, they Foster's was shot down because of density and parking. That was the big thing. Parking, parking, parking. Everything in this town is parking. No one's brought that up about the pickleball courts. Has anybody analyzed that? Absolutely not. It's let's just drop 6 more courts, 100 people on Nelson Ave because it's already there. Why not? Because it's not in your backyard. It's not in anybody's on council's backyard. It is in our backyard. We don't want it. We're all here because we don't want it. And you should listen to the residents. This room is full of your constituents, your voters. Zoom, I can guarantee those people are not your voters. They're the people that are from Ship Bottom, from Long Beach Township, from the mainland, that are obviously not in Beach Haven right now. They're probably in Florida or God knows where else, zooming in to express their support for pickleball. There's things going around Facebook, zoom in and express their support for pickleball to all these groups. They're not people that care about Beach Haven. They're not people that come to Beach Haven. I guess that most of the people have probably never even been to Beach Haven, but they love pickleball, so they're going to be on that Zoom call.
Are you against pickleball?
I'm not against pickleball. I'm against doubling the courts and taking away from the kids and creating a traffic nightmare in that neighborhood. And that's something I don't hear anybody considering or even talking about.
Thank you.
Next, is there anybody else in the room that wants to speak? Okay.
Michelle Swisher, 2209 West Avenue. My house looks over the current green space. I see families, I see children, I see them having a wonderful time. I see them not having a wonderful time when there's nowhere to go. They know they can't play wiffle ball on the beach. We don't have a beach anymore. Our sand is going away. Now you're taking our green space away. What else do we need to do? I have an article here from the Wall Street Journal. Consider it's the name of it is It's Been Awkward. Pickleball is pitting neighbor against neighbor in noise conscious communities. Maybe I make copies for everyone. So if you guys want to take a look at that. This is not a Beach Haven problem. This is a national problem. It's a big one. It's crazy. You're taking these things away from these children. One of the reasons we bought this house because we were a house away from a playground. So that first thing in my mind, we have children, we're going to have grandchildren. This will be wonderful. And now you're going to chase the kids out. That's the next thing. You're going to push them all the way out. So there's not even a playground anymore. And Mr. Batista, your big reasoning for having this pickleball center was so our houses can go up in value. Really? Have you seen real estate lately? Like this, my house has doubled in value. I don't need a pickleball court to help me. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Everett, 12 West 14th Street. I just wanted to speak in favor of the skate park. I certainly hope that it's staying on the table. I'm kind of hearing conflicting things. And I wanted to just urge the council to, when it is back in discussion, to understand that the skate park is it's going to bring people to the town. It's going to bring good people to town. When my wife and I choose to go up and down the East Coast, we raised our kids here. We're always looking for a town that has a skate park. And I believe that people that come here, be they second homeowners or vacationers, it will be a benefit to the people that visit this town. So when it's back on the table, if you don't see that, I hope you consider that.
It's still on the table.
Excellent. Well, that's good to hear. I hadn't heard that yet tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Parker Fallon, and I live on 314 Angleside Ave. And I just wanted to say that there are so many families that move to Beach Haven, and then once they finally move here, they are disappointed because the lack of space for kids to play, and that is slowly getting smaller. And the amount of kids that play on these parks is greater than the amount of people that play pickleball. And also, I would also like to say that a skateboard park in Beach Haven would be very beneficial for the future generations that come to Beach Haven, because now in our generations, there are many kids that have to travel farther than they should have to travel to get to the nearest skate park, like a couple of other people said. So,
Thank you. That's all right, just wait, we'll.
Hi, my name's Sean Dodds. I live on 1 Perkins Lane in Cedar Run, but I took the drive down here to support the skate park. I know a lot of the kids locally that I surf and skate with them. I've been surfing and skateboarding for 37 years now. My family moved to the island in 1987 to Barnegat Light. I grew up in Barnegat Light and Ship Bottom. We always used to come down to Beach Haven because we used to skate at the bank, which they kind of permitted for a little while at the old Beach Haven school. We had a ramp over in front of John Bailey Lloyd's house that they let us, for whatever reasons, they let us actually have something to do. And we came down here as much as we could. The point being about how proximity, when you don't have a car, we ride our bikes from Barnegat Light just to hang out in Beach Haven for the night. Now, since I've been skateboarding, the island has really never been in favor of skateboarding, especially in this area. It's notorious. Everyone knows it. Skateboarding is now in the Olympics. So if you don't support Olympic sport, but you support, if I had $1 for every time I heard pickleball tonight, we probably could build 2 skate parks already. And growing up locally in the area, I know lots of different stuff, what I've been exposed to. And I know like Mike Gesicki would not be playing for the Miami Dolphins if they didn't have a football field to play on over on the mainland. Matt Comasco wouldn't have been a pro soccer player. How are we going to have a kid in the Olympics, or even just tell them, that skateboarding is okay? It's like basically you're telling them that skateboarding is not okay, but you're not giving, the ball fields and everything. Absolutely. All kids have been supposed to play outside, get dirty, fall down, get up, work on a skill that acquires not just, you just don't buy your way into it. You have to dedicate your whole life to this stuff. I've dedicated my whole life to it. My daughter's now 20. I moved back here from California when she was 3. We had never had anything. And so many people here, all we want is a skate park. Discrimination nowadays, like everyone's supposed to have equality. Where's the equality for the skateboarders? It's never been here, ever in my lifetime on the whole island. So good luck with the skate park. I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to point out some facts that everyone might not know.
Thank you.
Bob Swisher, 2209 West Avenue. A lot's been said tonight. I just want to kind of just follow up on a couple of things. The parking issue. Has anybody on council looked at the parking on a Saturday in past?
Yeah.
Okay, but the course they have now, there's no place to park. I think that's important before you vote on anything, to actually look at that. And getting back to what Matt was saying before, what are the plans for future parking? Is there going to be a parking lot somewhere? Are we just going to put all these cars on the streets? Has that been, excuse me? That'd be great, yeah.
We looked at the east side of West Avenue to change that to angular parking. And we can put 17 additional parking spaces in there.
So right by the playground, right at the playground, okay.
On the opposite side of the street, there where the annex is there, we have the gardens and community gardens there. West side of that property.
Yep.
We also think about maybe we can do some historic or allowing us to do some of their property. So that's what we've been looking at. Also, there's a 35-foot piece of the park on the east side of the park that belongs to the park that could also be used for parking.
Okay.
And you would fit another 17 parking spaces.
So you're proposing adding, I guess, 100 more cars in the area?
I don't have a count on every cars.
Well, I mean, you kind of went through the lists of the parking spots that you're adding, possibly all over the place.
We're just trying to maximize as much parking as we can in the space.
Okay, and so the field area, it's already been laid out. There's stakes all over the field. it's taking away pretty much half of what's left over now. Currently, outside the pickleball courts, there's another 20-foot area where everybody gathers while they're waiting to play. So pretty much by adding 6 more courts and then that 20-foot area or 20-yard area, you're pretty much eliminating all areas that are open space.
When we're done, plan goes through, we'll have the field 100 feet wide and 220 feet from north to south. So you'll have 20,000 square feet of green field.
So again, it's staked out on. No, I'm not. The field is staked out now, and it's basically taking away roughly half.
Okay, so we had the field staked out so that we could conceptually see what we had on paper, to see how it worked. We didn't like the amount of space that it is taking up now. We didn't feel, I did not feel that there was enough space left for a good soccer field. So what we're doing is the space that was originally designed between the 2 courts was 35 feet. We're bringing that down to 15 feet. So right now, what you're seeing out there in that field, take measure tomorrow. You have 82 feet right now from the swings to the line of the new courts. We're going to add 15 feet to that, so we're going to push the courts further to the east, and that field will be 100 feet wide, 220 feet long. That's what that field.
Will this all be done before you vote to approve this ordinance, and will the parking be approved?
Certainly, we're going to have the discussion, and all of this is either going to work or it's not.
But again, it's up for a second reading in 2 weeks. Am I correct? No, next month. Okay, so by that time, will all these parking issues be solved?
I hope so.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
That's the objective, is to get it all worked out. Can't work it out, it won't go forward. Right?
Okay, we'll believe it.
Thank you.
Kathy McLaughlin, 2404 South Bay Avenue. I have participated in virtual meetings 2 years ago, so I'm not going to reiterate the safety issues and the noise issues, but I do have a question, Mr. Batista, particularly for you. I keep hearing you say we are going to have a pickleball center and we have looked at this. Who is we? I'd like to know, have there been meetings?
There's always discussions. We talk to
I'm saying, are the discussions meetings that
No.
members of this community should be, invited to? No, but I'm saying you're coming already with
Every day,
plans.
there are multiple phone calls from our professionals to our borough employees. We're trying to work this out.
So who is we that was looking
Well, I met with
for?
I met with our public works supervisor down on the field. We walked around.
I'm saying, so you personally introduced this. I'm just seeing if there was some meeting that maybe, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, violated the open meeting rule. Because it seems like, already talking about angle parking, this many feet this way. It just seems that this just wasn't something that came off the top. No, I mean, the whole thing. A lot of people have that question.
The parking came up at the last meeting and we went to work to try to see what we could do about it.
But things had already been introduced, the topic of expansion of pickleball. So I'm trying to just get a little history, how this came about again so quickly. But you're not really giving me an answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Noah D. Simone. I live on 152 Peter Road, and I just feel like the only thing I've done on pickleball courts is skateboard. The youngest person, the youngest person I know, like who has played pickleball or who I've seen play pickleball, is like 40 years old. So I don't think we're like helping kids out here, and the best skate park like near us is like Tom's River Skate Park, and I ski kids all the time, like airing out of the bowls there and stuff. And I don't think we're giving kids opportunities to like be able to like do that and like get better at skating. So I feel like we should give like kids in this community more opportunities to do more things.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dave Rispoli, 2216 West Ave. We have 2 kids, 5 grandkids. We live across the street from the park. We love the sounds of the kids playing at the park. We do not like the ping, ping, ping of pickleballs, even though we are pickleball players. Matt took my thunder away. He did a great job. I don't really have anything else to say, but I wanted to support what Matt said. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, my name is Ronald Hook. I live on 7 Plantation Drive in Little Lake Harbor, local inland resident.
Last name, I'm sorry.
Hook, H-O-O-K. I'm just, it's really wild to me that there's 38 tennis courts, 24 pickleball courts throughout the island, and there's only 1 skate park. Not complaining at all, but it's definitely not the best skate park. It's also past Love Ladies all the way down by the lighthouse where a lot of older people live, a lot of younger people live down here, I feel like. And I think it's very odd that you guys want more pickleball courts, but no more skate parks. There's plenty of pickleball courts, tennis courts too. And I really like the idea of being able to have like hybrid courts. So you draw the lines, very simple to do, very cost efficient, I feel like as well. And a big argument of mine is the fact that the only support for the pickleball courts are making money. I think that's, which is, you know, not bad, but the kids around here would love something to do. I know growing up, I wasn't a kid very long ago, or I was a kid not too long ago. I never wanted to play pickleball ever growing up. Maybe basketball and other things, but just not pickleball at all. So I think that's very important for the kids to have something that they're going to want to do, grow up, and they can meet new friends at. Skate parks are insanely very good for kids to express like creativity, be themselves, make new friends, and be in an environment where they're watched over, but they're not being told what to do and how to do it. They can, you know, let their feelings be expressed and whatnot. And it's also year round skateboarding, something that kids will never not do. Like if it is snowing, maybe I'll stay inside for the day, but I'm skateboarding every day that I can. Pickleballers is like a summertime thing. Whenever the older crowd is here, and like everyone else said, they can drive. They can all drive to a pickleball court. These kids can't drive to a skate park. And even me, like being an inland resident, I come here a lot to the island, hang out, skate shop. I'm just here a lot, but I would be here a million times more if there's a skate park. Even things like the Chowder Fest. I've never been to. I don't have much interest in chowder, but I would love to come. If there was Chowder Fest going on and a skate park next door, I would love to come eat a bowl of chowder, see what it's about, and then go skate. It would be awesome. I know a lot of younger kids would be brought into just different fields. There's a lot to go on with that. And then other things like the businesses that could benefit for the skate park. All the food businesses, the skate shop, everything that's just oriented towards kids or the summer crowd. I think there's a lot of things. Oh, and the last one is that I think it's concerning that there's a group full of people who have a lot of strong emotions about the skate park, not like the kids, all that. And I think it's odd that between 5 people, there's a whole group of people or a whole room full of people that have not really much to say. We watched you guys all vote against it very quickly. I thought that was odd. Just a concern to me.
fit it in.
They gotta take into consideration, like they're all saying. Spend the full. Or just.
Did anybody else lose the feed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we lost it.
Yes, lost it.
Yeah, I'm out. So good.
Yes, and it's very hard to understand everybody.
It sure is, even when they're talking in the mic.
Dude, my vote is we give up on the pickleball court and spend $20 on a Zoom feed.
There you go.
Second that.
Second that vote, absolutely. I can't believe we can't afford a microphone in this community.
There's a lot of fiscal responsibility, lack of fiscal responsibility not being talked about in Beach Haven, and it's kind of showing through here, I think, in my opinion.
Clearly. What is the dirty it's like
I
a
agree
dirty
with
little
Jeannie.
secret here.
It's you just don't want to push.
I can't believe they don't have a chat board where you can talk.
Beach Haven.
A private environment for high density development down the road. This is just the beginning.
Absolutely, it's gonna be a mini Ocean City. It's what they're pushing for. The whole fishing thing and the whole marina setup they're doing. They're trying to make it like a Sunset, and don't Ocean City my LBI, you know.
I see the picture. I don't hear anything though. Hang on, you know what? They're back, but I think they're on mute.
I don't see a picture, but I do hear you.
The host would like to unmute me. Somebody, I just got a message.
Host, please unmute yourself. We can't hear what's in the municipal court.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
No.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on unmute.
I'm on Zoom and I can hear you.
Sherry, everyone lost the feed.
And we can't see anyone.
Yeah, we cannot see anyone.
Could the council please unmute themselves?
Sherry is aware and she is working on it.
Okay, thank you.
I can hear you, but I can't see anything.
I feel very confident with my fiscal advisors.
If you can't see them, try scrolling through the pages. There's 5 pages.
Sir, you can go ahead and state your name and address for the record.
My name's Tony Ivanchich, 322 4th Street, Beach Haven, New Jersey. My wife and I had raised 4 kids in this town, and I've seen the frustration on their faces, not having a lot to do. And I'm all for that skate park. And anything that we can get the kids interested in doing is a great idea. And as far as the pickleball courts are, I think you got 6 of them. You should be happy with the 6 you got.
My name is Quinn Baumiller and I live at 1156 6th Street. All these kids learn to take turns in school, but why can't they take turns on the pickleball courts? Like a lot of other people said, we bike to this park and the people that play pickleball can drive to Ship Bottom to play. But we can't drive to different parks. We'd have to bike or our parents would have to drive us, but they don't have time for that. They work, they do other things. So I'm against taking away the kids' field for pickleball courts. Hello, my name is Riley O'Donnell. I live on 432 Dock Road, Beach Haven, New Jersey. And I like going to the field in the summer and in the winter. And I like to bring my dog there, Powder. She's a lot of energy and she loves going there. I'm out of the house a lot now when I take her to the field. And yeah, that's just why I like the field.
Anybody else before we go to Zoom?
Good evening, council, women and men. Thank you for hearing all of us tonight. I'm here.
State your name and address.
Oh, sorry. I'm Richard Casperson. My address is 117 Inboard Avenue, Manahawkin, New Jersey. I'm here speaking about on behalf of all the skateboarders here. I grew up here. I started skateboarding when I was 6 years old. I'm now 41. I still skateboard. This is a Olympic event. I just want to reiterate on this. I'm not sure if everybody really fully understands that. We can have local skateboarders that can benefit from this and represent us in a venue bigger than all of us here tonight. Okay? I know it's hard in times like these to be selfless. I understood that during COVID, where I actually started my skateboard company. Those of you that are familiar with this local area, you know what the Bridge to Nowhere is and what it stands for and what it is to local people. It sounds very off color. I get that. And so does skateboarding to someone that has not skateboarded before. I'm not up here and my intent is not to sell my brand. I actually give back and I teach the sport of skateboarding for free. That is the selflessness that sometimes in times like these, after COVID, where our younger generation needs somebody to pick them up, boost their self-esteem and their confidence, okay? Make them stronger. They're the ones that are going to protect all of us in the future. I'm a paratrooper from the 82nd Airborne Division, okay? Thank you. To be a paratrooper, if you're not aware, you need to have strong legs. You need to be strong. Skateboarding teaches balance, confidence, strength. Strength that cannot be measured in any other sport or any other avenue of approach of conditioning. It is for all ages. Anybody, I taught my mom how to skateboard. She's 65 years old. Anybody can do it. Jason Statham, he's an action hero, filmed with Stallone, filmed with Schwarzenegger. You've all seen him. Here's a good read. 2007, I believe, Men's Health. He is a skateboarder. He is fit more than probably anybody in this room, including myself. He skateboards. He doesn't run. That is his cardio. We need to make our youth stronger and not weaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Wimba Keltry. I live on 411 Holyoke Ave. And I just want to say, please don't take our park. Okay. Bye.
Diane Felton, 320 Nelson Avenue. I've lived on Nelson Avenue for 45 years. I've seen the park get smaller and smaller. The kids need some place to play. Not to mention, nobody has mentioned the noise level. I can't even sit on my front porch in the mornings to enjoy a cup of coffee or tea with a ping pong, whatever you want to call it, of the pickleball. I get it. I'm not against pickleball. But since all this happened, nobody, and I can't speak for my other neighbors, but nobody has ever come and asked the neighbors. Nobody knocked on the door to see what we feel, how we feel about it. Not once. So I guess it just doesn't matter. It seems like it doesn't matter what the neighbors, think about it. Like I said, 45 years I've been there, and this has been the worst. I don't want you to put more pickleball courts there. The kids need a place to play. My kids grew up there. I'd like to see my grandson go over there, but I'm deathly afraid when he gets old of letting him cross the street by himself. it wasn't like that before. And I get it, progress, whatever, but there's got to be a better place to put it. Not there. Thank you.
Anybody else in the room before we hit the Zoom? Okay, let's go to Zoom now.
And
Hello?
Flynn,
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Ann Flynn,
state your name and address.
Ann Flynn, 1610 South Bay Avenue, Beach Haven. I've been hearing this discussion, and number one, I'm extremely disturbed, not by the discussion of whether we should have pickleball, but the fact that we've pitted pickleball against skateboarding and children. That is a very disturbing fact. Having taught for 40 years and worked with kids for 40 years, to find this, to get a recreational activity that has gotten to this point is really sad. I, as a resident of Beach Haven since the 80s, prefer to have both pickleball and a skateboard park. There's no reason why the kids should not have a skateboard park to participate and have an enjoyable time. My son was a skateboarder. We used to go down to Barnegat Light to go to the skateboard park down there. I think that the kids in Beach Haven should have a skateboard park. I'm not against that at all. But the fact that everyone seems to think pickleball is an enemy is very, very disturbing. Right now, there are always generally 60 to 70 people every day at the pickleball courts currently, 6 courts. That will not change that much if the new courts are added. Number 2, about 20 people take bicycles every day to get to the courts because, despite the belief, we are local. Many of us are local. Number 3, we've talked about age differences. Well, the best player in the world is 16 years old. She started when she was 10 years old. So it is not a generational sport for the senior citizens or those who have passed their prime. Also, pickleball is also being considered an Olympic sport. So therefore, the argument with skateboarding, which is a true and a good argument, yes, they do have potential to move on, and as will pickleball players. Number 5, the wait is very long. You could wait 30 minutes to play a 12 to 15 minute game. And that is definitely accurate. So the need for more pickleball courts is there. Now, whether we do them at Nelson, they all need to be together. Pickleball and skateboarding is a culture. The culture of pickleball is to develop it into a social experience, as is skateboarding a general group of people. I just think that either we keep it at Nelson, bring the skateboard park to Nelson, and use some of the tennis courts to make 12 courts on Pearl Street, Walsh. That would solve the solution. You would have no noise at Nelson. All the racket sports would be in one location. The skateboard park would have a great location centrally where the kids could go there to skateboard. I just think that we've turned this into a total divisive action that is separating the community. You have one group against the other group, and instead of bringing the community together, we're tearing it apart, just like the rest of the country. We have sides. Everybody needs to look at it, look at what's best for the kids, which is to definitely have a skateboard park for them, and also something to develop, have an activity for all generations. There are people playing on those pickleball courts all day long. All day long. All right, I'm done. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm sure that
Thank you.
Hello?
Corinne O'Connell.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Corinne O'Connell. Address is 331 Maryvale Avenue. We have been summer residents. My parents bought the home in 1997, and some are there for 25 plus years. And there are a few questions or comments that I bring to the council this evening. We are avid users of the park as summer residents, right? In a multi-generational household who we have kiddos, we've been on the swings, we play wiffle ball. And yes, my family We love the 6 pickleball courts we play. I liked the observation about the difference between needs and wants. I think that is a really important piece to reflect and to listen more. And I do say listen, because it does seem like there's a bit of a royal we in some of these decisions, right? We have made decisions, or we are looking at parking. We have measured the field. I appreciated Mrs. McLaughlin's questions and comments earlier. Where's the we and what's the impetus and what's the urgency? I want to echo the comments of a few of the other full-time residents around parking, safety, right? The volume of kids and families in that park and up, it's a residential street. Councilman Batista, you said pickleball center. I want to echo that again, your words, pickleball center. If this is to be a center, let's anchor it right in the commerce section of the borough of Beach Haven. A center does not belong on a residential street. And my last question and inflection for the council, I'm wondering about transparency. I find it really interesting that public comment has happened after there was a vote to allocate the resources, just to allocate. And I heard, quote, just to allocate, but it seems like there's a lot of forward momentum, right? There was a parking study done, interesting. The field's been measured in line. There's already a plan, but we're, quote, just allocating to research or to understand more. What's the transparency in this process? Where is there more input for public listening? Where are the reports? Where's the parking report? What are the other things the public should have access to know what's happened? Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Fields.
Okay, thank you. With me is Thomas Fields.
State your address for the record.
And for the pickleball courts and all this stuff and like taking away the field, I feel like for my vote is a no for the pickleball courts, because like I remember I used to go to Beach Haven school, and like I have really old friends there. I want them to be bored and like be really bored and all this stuff, and I want them to have fun.
Thank you, Thomas. So this is David Field, 301 Dolphin Avenue. We are residents of Beach Haven. We came down during the pandemic. We actually live in Pennsylvania as well. We feel very connected to the community. You know, when we heard about this, we're very concerned. We have pickleball here back in Pennsylvania. We also have it at the club that we belong to on the island. I think with this, what's most concerning is that this is a substantial expense. Town has deficit spending, as you heard from the band's note there. I think the return is questionable at best, but it's a permanent impact on everyone. It harms the children, it harms the area. Moreover, is that I think we're forgetting that, you know, this is basically a developer-driven project. It's not, there's no need or absolute purpose for it. There's much greater needs. But I think what we're missing is that Beach Haven is a family-friendly environment. And I think we're destroying the ability for families to come in, have other activities, such as all the universal things to do with a ball field, than limited on any kind of court, whatever it's going to be. And I think that this project is designed to address the 8 or 12 week market that visits, and it really is disproportionate to the year-round residents, which we were for 2 years of Beach Haven. And we know the dramatic difference of what you have and what you might not have in an island setting as well. And we care very much about our friends over there and the people who are directly invested. And it seems as though that's, you know, been generally, disregarded, is from what I could see, even though I know there's a lot of thought. But it also sounds like there's been a lot of conversations and meetings and committees that have already made some decisions, and obviously the allocation, which seems very inappropriate at best. Because I wonder how much has already been spent on this project without sort of the pull of, and the pulse of the locals as well. I think what's most concerning is that, you know, demographically speaking, pickleball is really popular and we like playing it too. But paddle and other things are growing as well. and have a high density pickle arena in a residential setting is absolutely inappropriate. Driving business, you know, I think business is not an appropriate thing for a town. Frankly, that the community, what's more valuable is the people in the community, not the real estate. Anybody who says it has a real estate focus, it's just, that's a discussion about greed and utilization of, you know, maximizing profit or traffic flow. I'm not aware of anybody doing a feasibility study to talk about what's the cash outlay, the maintenance, you know, what's going to take if when, you know, major storms come and flooding, the wear and tear on the roads and everything else, in addition to all the inconvenience of all the residents and the health safety risk of the children. And I would hate to see West Avenue become a fast moving highway suddenly, you know, unregulated as well. I mean, unfortunately, I view this as a sign of the beginning of the commercialization of Beach Haven for high density outlets. To justify this much pickle in one location, which you don't see in Stone Harbor, Avalon, even back here.
Thank you, Mr. Fields.
It's inappropriate. This is an ermit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jim Schumacher.
Good evening, Jim Schumacher, 227 Marine Street, Beach Haven.
Have two devices running. You might want to mute one. We're getting feedback.
Is that better? Can you hear me now? Okay.
What's your address?
227 Marine Street. You ready?
You want to go with that, or is that a?
Yeah, I can hear, I can.
All right, go ahead.
First, I commend all the young adults and children in this room that are voicing their hopes and dreams about growing up in Beach Haven. And I really hope they follow it up in the schools to show them that your voice has to be heard to have action. It seems to be a lot of money to spend on a low priority project of pickleball when you haven't seen the impact of the rest of the courts that are being built or have recently been built in Long Beach Island. I have a question of, if this was a business, they would have to go in front of the land use board, and you would have discussions about parking, impervious ground coverage, noise, buffer zones, et cetera, to the residents that are next to these courts. And I don't think that is being even looked at. I do echo Ms. Lambert and Ms. Baumiller's comments. Mr. Batista's comment about increased home values. Quite honestly, sir, I've never seen a house ad that says close to pickleball courts. And in regards to your comment that it's 20,000 square feet is going to be enough space for a soccer field. Soccer field's 81,000 square feet. So you're leaving the kids with a quarter of the soccer field. I just hope you reconsider this. I think the town has done a wonderful job of controlling expenses on a lot of different avenues. But this is a low priority, and you have to set your priorities. As everybody says, it's a want, not a need. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Diane Snelson. Diane Snelson, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, hello. Yes, my name is Diane Snelson. We have a home on 5300 Long Beach Boulevard in Brant Beach. We've been there for 23 years. We're a part-time resident, but we pay full-time taxes. The one thing I'm hearing tonight, we all have a passion for our island. We all love Long Beach Island and how it offers our families such wonderful things. I want to talk about the wind turbines and the effect that it's going to have on the island. Not only the whales, it's been a number of unprecedented whales have died in the last few months. I think we're up to 14 on the East Coast. And there is a correlation with the sonar and the surveying that's going on. but it's not proven yet. There hasn't been a lot of transparency because there hasn't been a lot of impact studies done on the long-term effects. I wanted to make a statement because the more I learn about these turbines, there's going to be 357 of them, the tallest in the world. It'll be the largest wind farm in the world off our beach, 9 miles off, and they're very close together, closer than any other wind farms anywhere in the world. This is going to cause tremendous visual issues. You're going to see it from the coastline. You're going to see it over the bridge. You're going to see them on the bay. You're going to see them everywhere. The night skies are going to be lit up. The red blinking lights are going to be blinking all night long. And they don't know what the impact on humans are going to be because it has vibration. There's a noise sound. All our beautiful oceans and the scenery and the listening to the ocean hit the shoreline, it's all going to go away. Ocean breezes will decrease. It will cause more heat on the island, and electricity is going to soar. So my point in bringing this out is I think there has to be more awareness to everybody that lives on the shoreline and off the shoreline. This is going to be a huge impact environmentally. It's going to destroy our beaches. It's going to destroy the beautiful wildlife within them. And I'm voicing my concern because I hear the passion of pickleball courts and how kids love to play on the playgrounds. And if we don't have an ocean and a safety area where it's quiet and we can all enjoy why we live on the beach, it's all going to be for naught, because if those wind turbines come, it's going to change the landscape forever. And I just want to go on record because I'm really hoping this gets more attention. And the more I learn about it, the more upsetting it is. Not only the whales that come up, another one died yesterday in Virginia. It's just, it's very sad, and people really need to pay attention. And that's my comment. And thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Gina Sarcelli. Gina Sarcelli, did you want to be heard? Denise Steer.
Hi.
Go right ahead, state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Denise Steer, and I'm a full-time Pennsylvania resident at 2285 Roland Lane in Coopersburg, Pennsylvania. My family owns property in Barnegat Light. And I've got two comments to make that I hadn't planned on making. One, just like Mr. Schumacher said, kudos to the kids who have gotten up and speaking out for what it is that they believe. Keep it up. Always stand up for yourself and for those who don't have a voice. So congratulations to you kids and the parents who have raised you. And also, I'd like to just make a comment about the pickleball courts. I do come down in the summer at Barnegat Light, and I'm a little embarrassed to say in front of this crowd, frankly, I do play pickleball. But I would also say that I know I would, as well as the people that I play with, would be absolutely mortified to think that we were playing on a pickleball court that was once a green space where kids played. So while I don't pay taxes in your town, I think I can speak for pickleball players that I play with up in Barnegat Light. Don't pave over green space for kids for pickleball. That's just not a fair trade. But the primary reason why I'm joining in tonight is because I'd like to speak, much like Diane did, about the moratorium and the resolution that was passed unanimously by the council. So thank you for that. Much like Diane said with regard to the moratorium, the reason why many of us own property down the shore is because of the natural beauty of the coastline and the ecosystem that we're so reliant on. That's the primary reason why most of us own property down there. And I think unlike pickleball and unlike skateboard park, one thing that we can unite about is the idea of preserving the natural beauty of our coastline and the ecosystem. that we, so like I said, so much rely on. So I'm hoping that we can unite around that topic. And despite the very compelling and scientific presentation by the young man prior, David, and also the mayor's assertion that those of us who are interested in understanding the full impact these things have, and that we're not following the science, I would disagree. There's an abundance of science out there that not only supports the sonar as has an impact on mammals, oceanic mammals. There's also an abundance of research that is out there with regard to the harmful effects of these wind turbines on the coast and the water, the temperature of the water, et cetera. But this just isn't about the ecosystem or the shoreline. It's about property values. I know no realtor who answers the phone and has somebody on the other end saying, I'd like a house with a wind turbine view. It's also about the not only the property taxes, the property value, it's also about the property taxes, it's about our people's health. But if the ecosystem and those things don't do it for you, what we should be standing up for is the constituents' rights to be heard. And that was silenced by the actions of your governor, who passed a bill eliminating the input by mayors, therefore constituents, to be heard on this topic. It's akin to political bullying. That should be concerning for everybody, not only the council, but for the mayor as well, because you were cut out, mayor. Your input was cut out. You were deemed, your input was deemed not necessary by the governor. So with that, I'd like to extend an invitation, and I know that the mayor has recused herself, which I appreciate because of your conflict of interest. I'd like to extend an invitation for the deputy mayor to sign a letter that has been prepared and signed by every other Long Beach Island mayor, as well as an additional 20 mayors of coastal towns that's asking for a moratorium. I know you're.
Gina Sarcelli, did you want to speak? Dante, Nini?
Hi, how are you?
Go ahead.
My family's house is 8904 Long Beach Boulevard, and I rent a house with my friends over on 86th Street.
Right.
I'm speaking for, I'd like to say, a few different parts of the community all representing the youth. In my opinion, everyone my age who I hang out with from down the beach, I moved down there full time 2 years ago, right after COVID. And when I think of the beach, I think of, you go there for peace, you go there to go fishing, you go there to surf, you go there to skate, and that's what everyone does. I hang out with. And I think it's just unfair to take anything away from the youth. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes real quick. In regards to the pickleball, I think it's just not something we should bring to Beach Haven. I spend most of my time in Beach Haven. I'm employed seasonally in Beach Haven. And I think that if you're looking for a competitive environment, you should go off the island for it. It's just not the place for it. I lift weights several times a week and I go off the island for it. I suck up the traffic in the summer. And I think that it's just what needs to be done in that aspect. I think that it's just unfair to also take away a field like that if you're not going to use it for something that everybody agrees on. I think all fields matter. I think that if you want to take the kids off the streets, if you think they're punk skateboarders, just send them all to one place and they'll leave you alone. You know, nobody wants problems, but I also think that the parking, pulling back up the fact that I'm employed in Beach Haven, the parking in the summer is outrageous. There's just not room for it anywhere in Beach Haven for any extra people, in my opinion. I've touched on a few things. I have some things I want to say, but I think they're for separate times and separate meetings. I'm not going to bring up the wind turbines and other propaganda and this and that. I just try to keep it as short as I can. again, sticking up for the youth. I think that we should take every opportunity we can to bring our youth together, get them off their screens and get them off the streets, and do things, you know, and just embrace the culture.
Thank you. Gina, I see you're on the meeting now. Would you like to speak? Gina Sarcelli? State your name and address for the record.
Please. Hi. Violet would like to speak. Should she say her address?
If you could, and then you can let her speak.
Sure. Gina Sarcelli. I'm Violet Garsman. We live at 70 Atlantis Ave. I work in Beach Haven. Violet goes to school in Beach Haven. And she thought this meeting was very important. Go ahead, Violet.
I play soccer at that park, so I'm going to say save the park.
Okay, and I think this is also a great opportunity. There's so many children that came out to the meeting. So if the council would take into consideration that this is a great opportunity to show our kids how their voice matters. So thank you.
Thank you, Gina.
My turn.
Christina Rutherford.
Hey, it's Chris Rutherford. I am at 444 Center Street in Beach Haven, New Jersey. And some of you probably already know that as someone said, I am zooming in from Florida, which is kind of funny. That was stated. I had a couple of things I wanted to say. As a member of the Beach Haven community, a parent of 2 teens, a former councilwoman who was championing and strongly worked on effort for in moving this skate park forward in Beach Haven, I was dismayed by some of the efforts of some of the new council members to put forth a bond ordinance so quickly for 6 additional pickleball courts at the expense of taxpayers within the capital budget. The skate park has been an ongoing process of council through 2022, and we were verbally informed by incoming council that they would continue this process. So to have a bond ordinance for additional pickleball courts come before council only 2 weeks before the discussion regarding moving the skate park forward seems very suspicious, I'm sure, as you can see by the amount of people in your room, to the community here at large. I think that to have another recreational facility in town is important. As I think I stated, not everyone who plays pickleball enjoys playing tennis, and not everyone who enjoys skateboarding enjoys pickleball. I request that the members of council take a step back and focus on the recreational plan set forth in 2022 to advance the skate park. The kids in our town should be placed to the top of the list at this point. The recreational opportunities in our town are slim for them. Pickleball received 6 courts in 2020 per their continued support, and I encourage them to support that and their request. Let's show these kids in this community that we see them and that we support them. I'd like to rhetorically ask the question to both or to all Mayor Davis, Councilwoman Ms. Snyder, and Councilwoman Batista. With your support so strongly today for the pickleball court bond ordinance, I really hope that in 2 weeks' time you will strongly support the skate park moving forward and getting that done in 2023. Thank you so much. It's so great to see so many of you at this meeting, and I just really encourage you to keep this up. Good job, Beach Haven.
Thank you.
Natasha Law. You have to unmute yourself and then state your name and address for the record.
Oh, thank you. Nastasha Law, 1410 South Bay Avenue, and I'm here with my daughter Lily Law, who would like to go first. You want me to go first? Okay. Just wanted to follow up with what other people have said. My kids, we live down the street. We walk to the park. They bike ride to the park by themselves. We take our dog. It is the only park that has a playground and an open field. So my kids could play on the park when my dog plays in the field. There's no other fields in Beach Haven where you can do that. It's putting our kids at risk. More traffic, more people. Like I said, I let them bike there by themselves. And I trust our community and the people around, but the more people that you bring in, you don't know who you're bringing into the community. And I just wanted to leave off by saying, Mayor Davis and Mr. Batista, do you want to build a legacy that lasts? Because pickleball is a fad that will fade in years to come. And you're going to have cracks in the court and you're going to have to repair it. And it might end up like the hockey court that no one used. But our kids, if you invest in them, it's a investment that is going to last generations.
I don't want you to destroy the park because my dog loves running around there and I like playing with her and I like playing at the park.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Colleen McNally.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Colleen McNally. I live at 233 Neptune Drive in Manahawkin. I'm just calling in to show my support for the skate park. As a former year-round resident of Beach Haven, there is not much for the kids to do. I hate to kind of reference summer folks because I really want this for the year-round kids. They put in so much effort to go door to door and get all of these signatures and do all this stuff to get this project started. But you know, during the summer, there are so many kids that we corral from Taylor Avenue to the beach, back to Taylor Avenue. And the skate park would also provide a spot for our summer kids to kind of go and hang out. So they're not just, you know, moseying around and getting corralled all the time by the police officers. I also just love that the one comment of keeping things local, how that escape park would provide us to be able to support our local businesses with skateboards and surfing, because surfing and skateboarding are so linked together. So many surfers do skateboard. And LBI is also known for its surfing. Sorry guys, if you can hear my baby, but it's known for surfing. And I don't really know what I was going with that, but I just thank you for your time. And I just want to support the skate park and all the hard work that the kids did to get it started. Thank you.
Maria DiVincenzo.
Madam Mayor and council members and all the guests on this call, good evening. My name is Maria DiVincenzo. I live at 311 Merivale Avenue. I am the second house on Merivale Avenue from the corner. I spoke the last meeting that we had. A lot is being said tonight, and the livability is being compromised of our community, the livelihood, my children's heritage, our quality of life. I know these pickleball courts are important to people, but open space is important too. And the facts speak for themselves. Last meeting, I discussed the excessive profanity, the large groups of people congregating, both waiting to play and playing, my blocked driveways, and the gentleman who works the shack, he spoke and said, then just approach us. I'll resolve whatever you want. Do you sign up for this when you go on holiday? I'm just curious. When you wake up every morning knowing that you got to go across the street and go talk to the shack master about all these issues that are outstanding, they're scared to leave the block. And I encourage the tourism. I encourage them to try the restaurants. I don't want to leave if I have to struggle and figure out where I'm parking my car. You know, last week, the madam also suggested there's an argument that if you live by a field and pickleball court, you have to express the noise. It's going to happen. No one is signing up for this. That's the problem. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the expansion in 2021 was compromise enough. And to the gentleman, you know, the facts speak for themselves. Fairfax County in Vienna, Virginia is limiting the days of the week and the hours of operation of their pickleball courts. They're redefining the parameters of the courts in proximity to their homes. They're reinforcing the use of quieter paddles and balls, which apparently exist out there. Knew nothing about this. You're challenging the value of my home. I'm going to quote you, LBI New Jersey, Long Beach Island Summer Rentals on Facebook. This is a portal people use when they want to rent homes down the Jersey Shore. Hello all, looking for August 2023. Beach Haven, south of Fantasy Island, where it is more residential, looking for 3 bedrooms, a deck, walking distance from the beach, but Bayside is fine, not next to pickleball courts. This is our reality of what you've left us to deal with. And further expansion is irresponsible. We clearly didn't even employ a civil engineer last time we did this. No shrubs, no trees, no sound barrier. There's a green tarp tie-tabbed to the fence, and we're supposed to be okay with that. It's just, listen, at the end of the day, who is driving this initiative? Because the taxpayers have spoken, the children, brava, I applaud you. They have spoken, and Maryvale Avenue did not sign up to be the patron saint of pickleball. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you. So Tara?
Hi, how are you? Here with my daughters, Lucy and Ruby. We're at 123 8th Street in Beach Haven. I've been going to Beach Haven for over 50 years, and these two have been going their whole life. We went to that park forever. We've had so many great times. I think the biggest thing about Beach Haven is community. And I think over the last 4 years, people forgot it's a community. They're trying to make it a resort. And everyone here loves the community, loves the beaches. Like the fact that we're even talking about putting wind farms off of our oceans is absolutely absurd. And lately, even on the beach, there's kids playing alcohol drinking games. They're littering, they're hitting golf balls into the ocean. And we're talking about giving $250,000 for pickleball courts. Where are the police? I called because kids were so rude on the beach and drinking with handles of vodka and playing vodka pong on the beach. And no one even came, no one cared. I called up, there's riots of kids running down the streets in the summer. And we're getting so away from community, children. You're gonna take away green spaces from kids, take away the parks. I mean, we gotta get our priorities straight here. We already have 6 pickleball courts, and it sounds like it's a disaster, and it's completely super loud for the poor people that live in that community. I'm all for sports. I play pickleball, I surf, I do pretty much any kind of sport, but we also have to think like Beach Haven's a beautiful place to be, and we're getting away from that, and it's just a shame. You know, I would like it for these 2 girls to have and experience the same things that I have over the last 50 years. Girls, if you'd like to say something.
Hi, my name's Lucy Cetera. I've been going to LBI since I can remember. When I'm there in the summertime, we surf, I have like my whole crew of friends. I've been performing at Surf Lights since I was a little girl, and in like when we have our lunch breaks, we all go up to the fields and we have picnics. And like I would hate to see that get taken away from us, especially since our parents always tell us to get off our phones or go play outside. And where like in LBI, if we're gonna go outside in the winter time, we can't go to the beach. So where else would we go to? So we always would resort back to our phones. So I think that taking that away from kids is like not okay. So thank you guys for your time, and I'm gonna hand the phone to my little sister Ruby.
I'm Ruby, and I think that the skate park should be like built, because I've been skating since I was 6, and I loved it ever since I started. And I surf and I do a lot of sports. The field I play lacrosse, I play football, and I just really appreciate it. I learned how to bike ride on that field. I learned how to do the monkey bars on that gym. I love playing hide and go seek there. And my neighbors, they took me to that park like practically like a lot every day, and a lot of the parks, and we had so much fun. And that's probably my favorite park that they took me to. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do the right thing.
Thanks. Natasha Lounsbury.
Hi, my name's Natasha Lounsbury. I live on 240 Bulkhead in Ocean Acres. I grew up in Beach Haven year round. I went to Beach Haven School. I lived on 8th Street. And to me, the worst time of the year was Labor Day weekend because my social life was cut down to just kids that lived in Beach Haven School, which there's still some cool kids, but there was no options besides we had PAL, which was like the after school like police thing for us to do, or there was like St. Francis basketball, but there wasn't any like activities too much outside to meet kids that were maybe a few years older, maybe middle school, high school. And with skateboarding, I've seen such a community where you've got older guys, 30 years old, looking out for the little guys. And there's just such a sense that you don't get in a lot of other things. The other thing was I had a friend that would skateboard and she lived on Taylor. And a lot of times they're still going to skate. If the parents want them to skate, they'll skate in the driveways. What happens if you're trying a new trick, skateboard goes out, you're chasing after it, you're going out into the street. And that was what kept me from learning to skateboard when I was younger. There wasn't anywhere in Beach Haven safe for me to go and try to learn the skill, to try new tricks. It's definitely a skill I would have loved to learn. It's on my bucket list to learn. I'd be excited to actually have somewhere like in the next few years. I want to start having kids of my own. It would be memories I could build with my family, and it would be something good and positive. I don't see any negatives coming from another activity to give the kids that live year round somewhere to go out and something to do. Thank you.
Thank you. James Lambert.
Hi, everybody. Jim Lambert here, 516 North Atlantic Avenue, Beach Haven. Just in case nobody else was counting, we heard 32 residents of Beach Haven tonight speak out against any more pickleball courts on Nelson Avenue. Based on that, I urge the council, please do not use Beach Haven taxpayer money for more pickleball courts. You can encourage pickleball players to schedule their games to avoid conflicts, just like tennis players have always done in Beach Haven. Pickleball tournaments can use other courts in the township or other towns on Long Beach Island. They don't have to all be at Nelson Avenue to play their pickleball tournaments. And lastly, I just want to say, listening to the neighbors tonight, I urge the borough to mandate the use of only quiet pickleball rackets out of respect for the people who have to live in close proximity. Thank you.
Ryan. Kathy Ryan. Mr. Harrop, you can go ahead.
Thanks a lot. Jim Harrop, 1609 South Beach Avenue. I'm hopefully not going to use my whole 7 minutes, but I just really want to step back and kind of bring together the whole meeting you guys had. First of all, I am an advocate for anything the community wants to do to help the kids. Second of all, I have zero problem and I support a skateboard park. And I think many people have said this before. You guys, we're dividing our community against our goals. To me, this council has two jobs. One is to look at the community and do the best for the community. And two, to step back and look at how do I do this in a financial manner? Some of the council members, I'm a little insulted by listening, come up and say, I did not see a pickleball player on the streets today. I didn't see a skateboarder. I didn't see a windsurfer. That's irrelevant. I mean, I'm kind of amazed that you go out and you push your agenda without using logic, which is kind of insulting for someone as a taxpayer to hear. I want the skateboarders, I want them to be happy. But let's look at some facts. 8% of America has touched a skateboard. 14% of Americans have played pickleball. Pickleball was started in 1970. The largest growing community for pickleball users is what? Less than 24 age population. So if you're looking at a population and you say, I want to do something for the community, you would probably say, I would think I'd invest in pickleball. Now, you could go back and say skateboard. I have zero problem with skateboard. I think it's great. But the pendulum swang to pickleball. You guys have already said the the skateboard park died. The second thing I want to go back to is your financial responsibility. And it's amazing that this council doesn't have memory. And I'm kind of shocked I'm the only pickleball person that was here 3 years ago or 2 years ago when we talked about this. We, the pickleball community, raised $30,000. And this is where I'm a little bit lost, and I'm sorry if I'm misquoting myself. Your assessor recommended that we put 9 pickleball courts in. But the town council had their own judgment and they decided not to do that. And please, town council, respond to me if I'm incorrect with those statements. And so here we are 2 years later. We're not trying to throw something down your face, but rather the community keeps on coming to you and saying, this is what we want. So be financially responsible, look at what's best for the community. And I have no agenda for Nelson Park or whatever. Put sound barriers out, be nice to the people in the community there, and use your people to pay for it. The pickleball community, and I'm sure you could allocate money from the skateboarders to help bring up money for it, to take money away from the taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kathy Ryan? Kathy Ryan? Johnny Borsellino?
Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead, state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Borsellino. I live at 823 North Bay Ave, Beach Haven.
Can't really hear you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
823 North Bay Ave, Beach Haven, New Jersey. And I just wanted to make a statement that I want to say that I'm very thankful that my community came together once again to fill a room, to let our voices be heard. Thank you to Donnie. Thank you to the council members that support this project for the skate park. And let's just keep putting people in the seats and making sure that our voices are heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Ryan? Go ahead, Kathy. You were unmuted for a second.
Can't hear.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Steve Parker?
Yes, hi. I live at 71 Honeysuckle in Stafford and spend a lot of time coming over to your location on Nelson Avenue. I'm a pickleballer. My wife and I are both pickleball referees, traveling all over the country. And I'm taken by a couple of comments from some of the other people who call pickleball a fad. Pickleball was born not in 1970, but in 1965. There are plans to use pickleball as a demonstration sport in the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028, I believe. Pickleball is an international sport. I think there's something like 65 or 70 countries now where pickleball is being played. The popularity is more than just a fad. And I would encourage you to do what you can to promote pickleball because there are, and with more courts in your location, there are more teaching opportunities. I did hear someone say that the #1 female pickleball player in the world just turned 16. I was at a tournament in Daytona Beach, Florida this week, where we actually refereed pickleballers who were 13 and 14 years old at a tournament playing high-level pickleball. Let pickleball be an opportunity for kids to exercise, an opportunity for kids to grow, and to be outdoors and to learn a sport that they can use. I can tell you, I played pickleball against a 92-year-old.
30 seconds.
So I encourage you to promote pickleball. You can draw people to your rental units by addressing the fact that pickleball is available. The pickleball community is there. They're real. They spend money too.
Maybe he's got room in his backyard.
I'm sorry?
Please remain on mute until you're called on. Thank you. Carl Lundell. Go ahead, Carl. You can unmute and then state your name and address for the record. You're not unmuted. Try again.
On call. I know you're hard of hearing. Come on.
Kathy Ryan, did you want anywhere? You still have a hand up?
Can you hear me?
Hello? You have multiple devices, you'll have an echo. So turn one off. Carl, you're unmuted now.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Yes, Carl Lumbell, 15 West 13th Street, North Beach Haven. It's been an interesting evening, and I just have a few comments. I am the USA Pickleball Ambassador for Long Beach Island. And when I think of pickleball on LBI, I think of Nelson Park in Beach Haven. From the earliest chalk courts on the elementary school to the facility at Nelson Park, the interest in pickleball has exploded. The number one group driving that growth is women 19 to 45, followed by teenagers. So it is not just a seniors game anymore. Beach Haven is where players of all ages and levels come to play. It is where young and old meet and enjoy friendly competition. Beach Haven has a unique opportunity to further its reputation, not only on LBI, but also in the state of New Jersey and beyond as a destination for vacationers and families, as well as to see continued growth. I do not believe that many of the pickleball players that are not tax-paying members of Beach Haven is relevant. Beach Haven is a beach town and relies on out-of-town folks to support the local economy. Just imagine if you tried to limit access to Beach Haven to only taxpayers. What would places like Fantasy Island, Surflight Theater, the numerous restaurants? And don't forget, the players do pay to play pickleball. I absolutely challenge the accusations the pickleball community has been touted as a loud, foul language and garbage littering group that runs rampant at Nelson Park. The pickleball community is made up of individuals from all walks of life: doctors, dentists, school teachers, administrators, business executives of major corporations, business owners, police officers, accountants, firemen, and people from Wall Street. And don't forget us grandfathers and grandmothers. In response to Dan Allen's article about the pickleball community is in full support of the young children. And contrary to what people might think, we only want the best for them, because we are grandparents and parents as well. I would echo what Rhea said earlier. I found it very upsetting tonight to try to pit one group against the other. Obviously, I support pickleball, and note that across the state and across the country, pickleball courts are being added to meet the growing needs of a family sport. It is time for this council to act. We can't keep doing this over and over and continue to kick this can down the road. The council surely has more important issues to address in Beach Haven, parking, flooding, to mention a few. And let us not forget that not too long ago, we proposed that we do light off the courts, the tennis courts at Taylor. And we were met with strong opposition by the tennis community. Thank you.
Jim Ditmars.
Yeah, my name is Jim Ditmars. I own a house at 301 South Delaware Avenue, Beach Haven. After hearing everyone tonight, I feel like people may think that I might be an enemy of Beach Haven because I like to play tennis and I like to play pickleball. And I hope that's not a reason to hate people because they like what they have a passion for. I would love to have kids play more pickleball. I coach tennis in high school and I see kids grow from playing tennis and pickleball. So I hope that's what we can promote in Beach Haven. Pickleball is a sport that has no age limit. It's a fantastic exercise and social outlet for almost everyone. As statistics show, pickleball is growing rapidly in our nation, and the town of Beach Haven will benefit by providing residents and tourists alike with a much needed expanded facility to handle this boom and to alleviate the overcrowding and long wait times. So in my opinion, my tax money from Beach Haven is going in the right place if we do support pickleball court expansion. So I'm not sure if it has to be at Nelson. I would like it to be at Nelson. I think it's a great idea. And I played, as I said, I played tennis on Pearl Street forever, and I live right around the corner from it. So whatever you can come up with that would grow the sport of pickleball, I think is a positive for the town of Beach Haven. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon Kennedy.
How are you? Brandon Kennedy, 116 East 14th Street, Beach Haven. So I'm one of the summer locals there. I spend April to October in LBI. I've been there my whole life. I'm the third generation there now. My family, we hope to never get rid of this place, and yeah, we'll be there forever. So I spend most of the summer there. Every time I go down, I stop on the way in Long Branch, or I stop on the way in Brick just to stop at the skate park on my way down. I'm 29 years old. I'm about to be 30. As other people were saying that pickleball is for people in major corporations and things like that. I have a pretty high role in a very big company. I've been there for a while, and I've been skateboarding my whole life. I wouldn't be anywhere I am today without skateboarding. It told me when you get down, you fall, you get up, you pick yourself up again. I understand pickleball is for all ages, but skate parks are for a beach town. LBI is a beach town. Look at Los Angeles, right on the beach. It's the most populated skateboarding community in the world. And we only have one skate park. It's just right there. I'm also a golfer too. I don't discriminate. I surf, skateboard, play tennis a little bit too. So pickleball is okay. I don't hate on it one bit, but I've always been a skateboarder. I will always be a skateboarder, and I've learned so much from it. I've made so many great connections, memories, my best friends, and it taught me a lot about myself. Just want to get it out there that I'm the third generation of families out there. I will be the fourth, and I wish to bring my kids to the skate park down in LBI one day. It's always been my dream, just skating on down. That's all I do. I skate everywhere. I get kicked out from the cops. It'd be nice for us to have a place to go. Thanks for letting my voice be heard.
Thank you. Jason Murray.
Hello, Jason Murray, 408 Coral Street, Beach Haven. I think the conversation seems to be like going towards like it's pickleball or skateboarding. And it feels like I would ask everyone in the room, how many skate parks do we have in Beach Haven right now? The answer is 0. How many pickleball courts do we have in Beach Haven or on the greater LBI area right now? And I know it's a lot more than 0, at least 6 in Beach Haven. I also know that once you take green space away, the park at Taylor Avenue, it never comes back and will be gone. And with the premium value on open space in Beach Haven, that park, Taylor Avenue, and all the other parks and open space in Beach Haven, to me, are priceless. Maybe there's another location for pickleball, but when the council is considering spending that amount of money on more pickleball courts before allocating funds for a skate park, I think that's not really listening to the constituents and everyone who was there in person in the room tonight, who seemed to be strongly in favor of putting resources towards the skate park, preserving what's there at Taylor Street right now, or Taylor Avenue, and potentially finding another home for pickleball down the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Was there anyone else on Zoom that was unable to raise an electronic hand? If so, you can unmute yourself right now and state your name.
Ann Paskis, 306 Cove Lane.
Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. First of all, I'd like to say good job to all the kids, those for the open field and those for the skate park. You guys stood up and did a great job. Just want to correct one or two things in reference to tennis courts. And I agree with quite a few of these people. Let's not pit tennis against pickleball or skate park. Pickleball does have their 6 courts, and they are very, very active, but so are the tennis courts. The tennis courts are busy from 7 a.m. to 11:30 every day during the summer months, the same as pickleball. We waited 15 years to have them completely finished with the last 3 courts. And now Mr. Jurzak and a couple of other people have mentioned taking those 3 tennis courts. Well, where are the tennis players going to go? We use those courts every day. I am not only an avid tennis player, I also am an attendant at the tennis courts. And I set up a group of people. We have almost 50 people in our group, which has developed over the last 5 years, plus all the residents that just play by themselves, plus the vacationers that come back. So to take take some courts away from the tennis people to supply the pickleball people, I don't think that's a great idea. Pardon me? Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Oh, all right. And then to add on, somebody else brought up putting pickleball lines on the tennis courts. Well, that's not a great idea without changing them into total pickleball courts. The nets are a different size. The tennis players will be there earlier than the pickleball players because they're not supposed to start till 8 o'clock. And that's just going to be another train wreck. So I feel bad that you guys really have a lot of stuff to sit back and revisit before any decisions are made. Again, I just want to say these kids were great tonight. It was nice listening to them and standing up to their community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom that wishes to be heard, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. We're going to be wrapping it up. Is there anyone else on Zoom that wishes to be heard? Seeing none.
Seeing none, I will close the floor to public comment. And now we get to final remarks by council. Do you want to start, Colleen?
Sure. Very brief. It's been a very long night. Quite an interesting meeting, and thank you all for participating. Again, the kids did a fabulous job. There's a lot more discussion as far as that goes. I think we're moving in a good direction here, I hope. And thank you all very much. Happy Valentine's Day.
Kitty, do you want to go?
Want to commend the kids tonight. It's just wonderful to see kids advocating for what they believe in and what they think is for the greater good, and you should be really proud of yourself. I definitely heard it. No one here tonight is here, even those of us who voted in favor of looking into this, like myself, and I think I can speak for Nancy, and I pretty sure Mr. Batista goes the same way, that no one here has said we're against escape. No one. So that's wrong. Now, once we had a conversation, and I'm not gonna go back and forth because we had a long meeting, and I said, I think you should come with a presentation so that you can inform the public as to exactly what you're going to propose. So people aren't afraid of it, and so that we can see, and that I would probably be able to vote for it. Now, you don't know where I've come from then to here, so I'm not gonna go there because that's for another meeting. This meeting was not about a skateboard park. I understand what kids are saying about it, and I'm fine with that. I'm probably gonna go out on a limb here and say it'll be unanimous in favor of the skateboard park. But I can't speak for everyone, just a hunch. What I'm guilty of tonight is wanting it all for Beach Haven. I want our parks to be full. I want our kids to have lots to do. I want all ages to have something to do. I want Beach Haven to be vibrant and lively. And I don't want to encourage divisiveness, which we've been through before, and I don't want to go there again. It's never good for our town. And I don't know, how you can't just hate pickleballers because they play pickleball. And I heard some sneering tonight. I mean, I don't even play pickleball, but it's just not nice. So I hear you about Nelson, and I promise that I will take that into extreme consideration. Thank you.
Jamie?
Wow. It was a long meeting. I'll be very brief. Thank you, everybody, for coming. 2 years ago, I feel like we had a very similar conversation, and to address I forget who spoke on Zoom. When we talked about the original pickleball expansion, there was no expansion. It was 6 courts. In the master plan, it was 6 courts. The pickleball community wanted a total of 9. I sat at the members, I don't think anyone else here did. I sat at their homes along with Dan Allen, and we listened to the noise multiple times, and we sat with the neighborhood, and we came up with a compromise for 6 courts, no more. That was the compromise 2 years ago. I understand there was a $30,000 donation. I am well aware, and the money was returned, but we had to listen to everybody, and that's what our jobs are. Our job is to listen to everybody in the community and come together with a compromise. That was the compromise. Let's move on. I think the council really needs to consider their decision that they made to borrow $250,000. We are not The Shining. We don't close down on the off season. We have a very strong, vibrant, year-round community that not many people are aware, but we're here. We're playing in our fields, we're raising our families, and we're doing the best that we can. And this is one of the best places to grow up as a kid, and we want to provide more for them. We don't want to take away their field. That's obviously very important to them. Community is more important than real estate and property value to me, period. The heart of the community was in here tonight. I've never seen this space filled up in a long time as much. Beach Haven spoke. So now it's time for the council to listen.
Thank you. Mike?
I need you all here on February 23rd at 4 p.m.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I didn't come here for a fight. I don't want to fight. Don't mess with our kids. I don't think that's appropriate, sir. And that's what I'm saying. If you want to get a solution, we have to work together. No one is messing with your kids. Pickleball should be and is a young sport. And it will continue to. Where are you getting this?
Can everyone please?
He's addressing me.
No,
so I'm not addressing
you
you.
yelled out, you interrupted. There was over 2 hours.
occasions.
Mr. Bakelja, please.
It's Bakelja.
Bakelja, I apologize for mispronouncing your name. But please, we've had a long
We
meeting.
don't want to fight.
You interrupted a long week.
I need
No,
your-
I didn't say a long week.
You're not
Sir,
helping your
please.
cause.
I said we had a long meeting. We let everyone speak. You interrupted Mr. Batista. Okay?
It's not gonna help to argue, right? The purpose to be here tonight was to listen to everyone's concerns and take them all into consideration. When you're nasty about it, it doesn't help. See, this is.
No.
Please.
This is not give and take. Just, this is time for the council to talk. And the discussion will go on at the next meeting. Go ahead.
We are not taking away anything from the kids. I believe we're gonna add things. We're gonna beautify that park. We're gonna keep open space. We're gonna plant trees. And we're gonna continue to make Beach Haven a great place. Thank you all for coming. And I hope to see you all again soon.
I'll keep this brief. It's been a long meeting. I think Kitty said pretty much what I felt. And this has been a difficult decision. The pickleball and the skateboard park are not mutually exclusive. I really agree that I think we'll have hopefully a unanimous decision to support the skateboard park. I think it's very important. I think we all care about this town and the kids. Everybody's entitled to their own point of view. And that's why we get together and we listen to what you say. I certainly listened. I'm trying to listen to my fellow council folks as well. It is a difficult decision. I tend to disagree, I think, with Jamie on the issue of the 3 extra pickleball courts that we were going to put at Nelson a couple years ago. I think that would have worked out fairly well. It wasn't going to take up much of the green space. And I think that would have been the end of the issue. There are many people out there that do support pickleball, but I hear the neighbors, and I don't particularly would want to live right next to a pickleball court either. So I understand how you feel. And I think we all listened, and we'll revisit a lot of these things and see what we can do. But the one thing I want to leave on the note, don't forget the turkey dinner weekend, which is coming up. And so we need to support our fire company. We need to stay together. We need to work together. And one of the reasons we're here till after 9 o'clock is because we want to hear what you have to say. And, we can't look into the future. There's always pros and cons on every issue. But believe me, this is not a mutually exclusive situation, and there are other options that we can look at. So thank you very much. And do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.